Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. This is story about what if Naruto revives Minato with the help of Shinigami Part 1. Before I start, please do support for more amazing content and comments for Part 2. Do consider to subscribe my channel and share my video to your friends and check out the description as well. Let's start the video. Shinigami-sama sucks at poker. A fact known to nearly nobody was that even the gods had a weakness for gambling. Every 6 months Kami, Yami, Amaterasu and Shinigami would meet and have a night full of poker for high settings. Kami had plans for this specific poker night. She was very displeased that Shinigami had taken the soul of one of her best human warriors, and the greedy bastard wouldn't give her the soul back. But therefore she made a plan. An angel under her command had the devil's luck at gambling. She would fill in for her when the bets got in the high regions. Yes, the plan was perfect. Shinigami wouldn't know what hit him. All she had to do was teasing him until he was so fed up that he would bet the souls she wanted. And so far all went according to the plan. There was the call she waited for. She excused herself for a few minutes to deal with the call and put Aohoshi, one of the archangels, as her proxy. Well, what's the bet? Asked Aohoshi, fully involved in Kami's plans. Well, we should wait for Kami to return, began Shinigami. Afraid, Shinigami-sama? Aohoshi asked. To question the god's braveness was a sure as hell way to get what she wanted. Men are so predictable, she thought. Never, Aohoshi. What did you think of? Now Shinigami's pride was at stake. Well, if you win, I will go on the date with you. You asked me for the last 6 months. If I win, I get one of the souls under your mercy. And I can choose which one, and you resurrect him or her for me. Shinigami pondered about the suggestion. He wanted this date with all his being. She had always denied him this date. And she was one of the most beautiful women he ever saw. Long silky brown hair. Smaragd green eyes. A perfect hourglass figure with a nice C-cup breast. Oh yes, this would be so worth the bet. Okay, Aohoshi, I agree. Let's see who will win this game. Amaterasu and Yami decided this game would be solely between the two. Yami shuffled the cards and dealt each one 5 of them. Not a single emotion could be seen on either of the contestants' faces. 2 new cards, Shinigami said. Yami gave the requested cards. 1 new card please, said Aohoshi. She got her card. Well, this is all or nothing, Aohoshi, Shinigami said. Show. Confidently he showed his hand. 4 queens, a good hand. I'm sorry to disappoint you, but I win, she said with a bright smile. She laid her cards open. Straight flush from Jack of Diamonds down to 7 of Diamonds. No, that can't be true, wailed Shinigami, while Yami and Amaterasu chuckled. It was predictable. Nobody was able to beat Aohoshi's devil's luck at gambling. Kami returned at this moment. What did I miss? She asked innocently. I won a bet with Shinigami-sama, Kami-sama, and know he will give a soul under his command free and resurrect the person. And I know who to choose. I'm tired to just watch how these damned villagers treat the little boy I'm tasked to watch. I therefore ask for the resurrection of Minato Namikaze. He is probably the only one able to sufficiently protect his son, said Aohoshi. A bet is a bet, I will resurrect him, Aohoshi, Shinigami said. He held out his hand and a white light appeared. Slowly the light took form. A body became visible. At last there stood a blond man with striking blue eyes who was slightly disorientated. Where am I? He asked. In heaven, but that won't last long. To make a long story short, Shinigami-sama sucks at poker and lost to me. Therefore he had to resurrect you. I will take you back to your village, Aohoshi explained. Will I be able to see my son again? Interrupted Minato. He is the main reason I did this. I bet to go on a date with Shinigami-sama if I lost. You smirked while saying this, seeing the pout at the face of the death god. He needs you. I have looked after him as his guardian angel for the last 3 years, since the sealing, but I can only do so much. I missed 3 years of his life? Minato asked. Kami and Aohoshi nodded. When can we go? He asked. Kami just snapped her fingers. Back in Konoha, a bright light engulfed Minato and Aohoshi. Moments later they stood in front of a large wooden gate. Minato knew only too well the entrance gates of Konoha. He mumbled. I'm really back. I can't wait to see Naruto again. Aohoshi smiled. Minato really loved his son, that was obvious. Where is he, Aohoshi? I want to see him as soon as possible, Minato said. He lives at the orphanage, Aohoshi said. Minato was confused. Surely one of his old friends would have taken his son in. I can guess your question. Nobody besides the Sandaime, Jiraiya and Tsunade knows about Naruto's heritage. And I will be honest. The village never respected your dying wish. Sarutobi had to tell the council of Naruto's burden, and the civilian side promptly screamed for Naruto's execution to get rid of Kyuubi. They see Naruto as the Kyuubi. The shinobi side is smarter. I highly suspect that Hayashi knows that you are Naruto's father, and if Shikage ever lays his eyes on Naruto he will know as well. Smart bastard that he is. Minato was furious. They did what? He yelled. They were in for so much pain, he would make sure of that. There were 2 attempts to adopt Naruto from shinobi clans. The Sandaime tried to adopt him into the Sarutobi clan and Hizashi tried to adopt him into the Hyuga branch house. I suspect Hayashi to be behind it because he couldn't ask it for the main branch, as the damned Uchiha was one of the supporters of the execution idea. At least my best friend tried to help my son, Minato growled. Yes, he tried, but with the civilian council, the old teammates of Sarutobi and Danzu, who wants Naruto to become a weapon, thwarting all adoption attempts, there was no other choice than to give Naruto to the orphanage. And there the problems start. The council used the period before the Sandaime was reinstated after your death to increase their power and reduce that of the Hokage. Only a successor could change this. Corruption has taken foot at the council as the civilian side tries to influence shinobi decisions. The curriculum at the academy has been reduced to a level that civilian children can easily grasp. The quality of the shinobi is still high, but the next absolvents of the academy will be weaker. The fail rate of the Jonin senseis will increase dramatically, especially as Danza takes in every talented orphan to his personal orphanage and trains them to become his rude agents. Senseless killer machines. He says permanently that it is a grave mistake to lower the level of the academy. Only point the old warmonger is right about. If a war broke loose, the genin wouldn't stand a chance of surviving. Konoha will have a lot of problems if this continues. The people seem to forget that Orochimaru is still out there, and Madara is still alive. That is a dangerous mix. Aohoshi explained the situation. I know, and I will do everything to prepare Konoha for this. But first I will get my son, raise hell upon the council, and will make sure that Naruto grows up loved as he always should have been. By the way, which date is it? December 27th, answered Aohoshi, just after Christmas. Well, I think my return will be a late Christmas present for my son then. Perhaps I should go to see Sarutobi first. Then it will be easier to get Naruto. Just as he said that and the two headed to the Hokage tower, they heard a painful scream for help. They turned into the direction the scream came from. Oh no, please no, Aohoshi said. We have to help whoever this was, Minato told her, and ran into the direction the scream came from. Minato didn't know what was happening, but he would never let such a scream for help unanswered. Aohoshi was following directly behind him. He ran as fast as his short legs would carry him. He didn't know why they hated him so much. This day turned out to be the worst of this short life so far. First, the orphanage matron kicked him out, stating that they would not harbor a demon any longer. It didn't matter that he repeatedly swore he would never harm any of the other children and that he wasn't a demon. Then, 5 minutes after he stumbled to town, a mob of drunkards formed and stated they would kill the demon. He did nothing to them, and despite this, they wanted to hurt him. He had tried to find the kind old man who the matron called respectfully Hokage-sama when he visited the orphanage. When he was around, they were nicer to him, but only then. Tears streamed down his whiskered cheeks. He wanted to escape them. Why did nobody help him? A rock hit his shoulder. He screamed for help and in pain, but the hunters just laughed at his misery. He ran into a side street to lose his hunters, only to see it was impossible for him to go farther. A huge fence separated him from the other side, and the only gate was closed with a heavy chain and a lock. Fearful, he saw the gleeful villagers come nearer. He whimpered in fear. Now we have you cornered, demon. We will finish what the Yondaime started 3 years ago. Sandaime-sama is a fool to allow you to live, one man said. They charged at the boy only to see a yellow flash appear, and then the boy was gone. What was that? Another man asked, enraged. Another yellow flash appeared next to a three-pronged kunai they just now saw. You will die, the man that came with the yellow flash said. For the villagers it was as if they saw a ghost. A very angry and scary ghost with hard, cold blue eyes and spiky blonde hair. Nobody will hurt my son, the man said. Faster than anybody could see, the 20 hunters fell to the ground, kunai embedded in their corpses. Minato didn't even look winded. He left one of his signature kunai and disappeared with a yellow flash. Only 15 minutes later, an Uchiha patrol came around to see if the damned demon brat was finally dead. They had orders to look away from the mob, but what they saw frightened them. All men were dead with a kunai only the Yondaime Hokage used in front of them. We have to report to Fugaku-sama at once. This is a great threat to Konoha if anybody discovered the Haraishin no Jutsu. His colleague just nodded, and he ran to get the commander of the military police. On a nearby roof, Minato knelt before Naruto, who was crying in fear. Sure, it's all right now. Nobody will harm you, I promise. I will protect you, Naruto. Minato said with a calming voice, inertly shaking with fury. Please don't hurt me, begged Naruto, frightened. Minato did the only thing he could think of right now and hugged his little son. He whispered soothing word into the sobbing child's ears. I won't hurt you. Never could I hurt you, Naruto. I will protect you. Don't be afraid anymore. Naruto clung to Minato's Jonin vest and sobbed hard and let go of his emotions. Minato held him and gently rubbed his back. It took Minato nearly 15 minutes to calm Naruto so much that he looked at him. Will you really protect me? Don't you hate me like all the others? Naruto asked desperately. Minato saw mixed feelings in the toddler's eyes. Sorrow, fear and hope. Yes, I will protect you. I promise, and I never break my promises. And I don't hate you. I love you very much, Naruto. I was on my way to the Hokage tower when I heard your scream. I wanted to ask the Hokage to let me get you out of the orphanage. I want you to live with me. Really? You wanted to adopt me? Nobody wants that. They said I don't deserve a family. New tears built in his eyes. Minato swore to himself that he would torture the caretakers at the orphanage for this. How could they tell a child, his son, that he doesn't deserve a family? By the way, why wasn't Naruto at the orphanage? It was late, he should be in bed, he was just 3 years old. Naruto, why are you not at the orphanage? Minato asked. Naruto looked at his feet. The matron kicked me out and said they wouldn't harbor a demon any longer. But I don't know what that means. Minato hugged Naruto again. Oh yes, there would be consequences. Nobody did this to his son and got away. He was a peaceful man, but he was also a father. There is no need for me to adopt you, because you are my son Naruto. I'm so sorry that I was forced to leave you alone the past years, but now, we will be a family again. You are my daddy? Naruto asked weak. His voice trembled as he didn't dare to believe it. Yes, I am. Minato smiled at him. Naruto saw this smile and threw his arms around Minato's neck. Daddy, he yelled, and this time tears of happiness came from his eyes. It's okay, my son, I won't let you alone again, he whispered in Naruto's ear. On a neighbored roof, Aohoshi looked pleased at the reunited family. Her job was done, and she could leave them to return to Kami to give her report. Meeting at the tower. The Sandaime Hokage sat in his office tired from the day's business with the new treaty with Kyomogakure. The ambassador of Kyomo had arrived today, and the meetings had been going on for hours. Now he just wanted to go home and rest. But fate seemed to hate him. From the ground floor of the Hokage tower, a massive killing intent aroused. Immediately the Hokage shined from his office to see what was happening. Minato was pissed, and he showed it. It was late, yes, but the behavior of the secretary at the entrance of the tower was not tolerable. The moment she saw Naruto, she began screaming on the top of her lungs that that beast should leave immediately. Minato knew at once that she was a Haruno, only they were able to turn their voices in such a devastating screech. Also, the pink hair was a dead giveaway. He had used a Henge no Jutsu to mask him. He didn't want to reveal his identity to anyone except Sarutobi at the moment. His features resembled those of his late student Obito Uchiha, black spiky hair and black eyes, but his face was formed like that of a ninja he killed in the war with IWA. Nobody would make a connection. He wore simple clothes. Black pants and a long-sleeved black shirt with a dark green vest. Like his old shinobi clothes but civilian style. Naruto hid behind the legs of his father while covering his ears with his hands. This lady was scary. He wanted her to stop screaming, it hurt his ears. Then he felt a big wave of anger erupt from his father, and it was going against the scary lady. Only moments later the woman was pinned against the wall by his father, and he was more than angry. If you ever dare to treat Naruto like this again, you can be sure I will know, and then you won't get away with a simple warning. I won't stand this treatment any longer. Now get me the Hokage. I have some business to clear with him. Minato's voice was icy. And what business would that be, stranger? They heard a voice behind them. Gigi, Naruto called happily. Naruto? What do you do here? I thought you would be at the orphanage. It's late. That is part of the reason I'm here with him. Could we please talk in private, Hokage-sama? I don't want to reveal everything to these traitors. He sent a glare at the woman. Why do you call the people here traitors? The Hokage inquired. Yes, why? Minato asked sarcastically. Perhaps because they never even thought about fulfilling the dying wish of the Yellow Flash. Minato could feel some of the ninjas shuffling their feet uncomfortably. Just this moment, two figures stormed into the tower. One Minato recognized at once. How could he forget his student Kakashi Hatake? The other was one of the Uchiha clan. Hokage-sama, Kakashi shouted in slight panic. Naruto, he stopped his sentence as he spotted Naruto hiding behind the legs of a foreign man. He can come with us, Hokage-sama. I don't mind him to listen to what I have to tell you. He seems to care for Naruto, Minato stated. Well, alright. Roharo, what do you want? The Sandaime asked the Uchiha. We found a group of 20 dead people in an alley. We have already started an investigation, but Fugaku-sama told me to report to you that he thinks that a shinobi was involved in the incident. The Hokage was worried. I want a complete report when the investigation is finished. Hi, Hokage-sama, Roharo answered and vanished via Shunshin. Follow me to my office. We have a lot to discuss, it seems, the Sandaime said to Minato. He nodded and lifted Naruto from the ground into his arms. The Sandaime saw how comfortable Naruto was with this man, and it made him uneasy. He had clouded Naruto's heritage and missed to protect him from Minato's enemies. Could this man have found out? Did he want the power of Kyuubi? A few minutes later they sat in Sarutobi's office. Before I begin, send your umbus away and activate the privacy seals in this room, please, Minato said. Sarutobi was now extremely cautious. How did this man know about the umbus? But he obliged. At least Kakashi would be there to help him, and he was an ANBU captain himself. After activating the privacy seals, Minato stood up. Naruto, would you please stand next to me for a moment, so I can undo my henge? Naruto nodded. Minato undid his henge and Sarutobi and Kakashi didn't believe their eyes. Both immediately tried to undo this new henge no jutsu but failed. Naruto giggled at the stunned faces of the two men. He reached his arms for his father, and he took him up again and sat down on a chair next to Kakashi. Minato used a pressure point on Naruto's neck to let him fall asleep. He didn't need to hear this. Gently he laid the small boy on the couch in the office and removed his white cloak to cover his son. I believe you have a lot of questions. But first, I'm completely disgusted with the way my son has been treated in Konoha. I gave my life to protect everyone from the Kyuubi, more so. I sacrificed my son as his host, and all I see is complete hate from the villagers. What is going on here? You are the Hokage Sarutobi. Why did you let this happen? Minato? Sarutobi asked eventually. Who else? Before you asked, an angel of Kami-sama won a bet against Shinigami-sama at poker. So he had to resurrect me. This angel was Naruto's guardian angel these last 3 years, and she couldn't stand Naruto's treatment any longer. I found him on the streets where a mob chased him. Those are the same men the Uchihas found dead. I killed them for what they wanted to do to Naruto. By the way, the Uchiha patrols I passed when I rushed to help Naruto did nothing besides they heard his scream for help. Sarutobi sighed. It was getting worse. There were tensions with the Uchiha clan for some time now. But that they would stand by and do nothing when a child needed help, that was unforgivable. He was so tired of this job. Next thing I find out is that the orphanage kicked my 3-year-old son out, it's winter for Kama's sake, and told him things like he was a demon and wasn't worth to have a family. I just hope he don't have future problems because of this. But I will take him home with me and teach him personally. I know of the corruption of the council, and you can be assured that I will raise hell upon them. Aohoshi, the angel I mentioned, told me that you and Hizashi Hyuga tried to adopt Naruto, but the civilian council, Fugaku team, with your advisors and Danza stopped you. That, by the way, is the only reason I don't yell at you. I know Minato, and I understand you. I tried everything I could think of. I made it law that nobody was allowed to speak of Naruto being the Jinchuriki of Kyuubi so that he has a chance to make friends with kids his age. The problem is somebody blabbed and the secret got out to the villagers. The culprit was executed, but the damage was done. I told the whole village of my law. Nobody speaks about it, but the parents take their kids away. I was limited to send Kakashi and Tenzo to look after Naruto because the council has no insight on ANBU missions. Those two are the only ones I can trust blindly to watch over Naruto. I hope things would get better once he enters the ninja academy. As you're in Kushina's son, he surely has inherited your talents, Sarutobi explained. After what I saw today, I'm not so sure. I am rather convinced that a lot of the teachers would try to sabotage his education. And you can't send ANBUs to teach him, that would be too obvious. But I have a few plans for myself to solve this problem. If by any chance you will be confronted with the deaths of a few corrupt counselors, don't think too bad of me, they had it coming. What some of them are doing is bordering treason. I will collect proofs and then execute my verdict. The best way would be to openly announce their crimes to the public. That will humiliate them additionally. By the way, who is in charge of the T&I department? Inoichi Yamanaka. But he is training Ibiki Marino to take over in a few years, the Sandame answered. Minato got a devious smile. Ibiki? That will be fun. I remember the kid, a sadist like no other. I'm sure I can convince Inoichi and Ibiki to help me collect proofs. Now Kakashi, who had been stupefied by Minato's return, spoke. His mind had to proceed that his sensei was alive again, and that Naruto was his son. He had honored Minato's dying wish that Naruto should be seen as a hero for imprisoning Kyuubi. But that information about the blonde ball of sunshine was new to him. Sensei, what will you do because of Danzu and his root ANBU? He was ordered to stop it, but we all know that he continues it. He will be an invaluable ally. Other than the civilian council, he really wants Konoha to become stronger. Just his ways of reaching this goal are wrong. Totally twisted. If you can't beat your enemies, ally yourself with them. Howl with the wolves, but louder. I will contact him as soon as Naruto is safe in my mansion. I'm sure he will see my point of view. After all, I am one of the strongest shinobi alive for a reason. If I offer him to cooperate to increase Konoha's strength, he will be hardly tempted to take the offer. Next to the fact that the children in his orphanage have to be taught the way of the will of fire, Minato thought. Sarutobi and Kakashi gave their best imitations of a fish as Minato told them his plans to ally himself with Danzo. How could he think he would be able to convince the man of his opinion? I'm not crazy if you think. Danzo has connections that will become very useful. And there are enemies out there we need to be strong to encounter. Orochimaru and Madara Uchiha at the top of the list. Wait, Minato, Madara is still alive? Sarutobi asked. Yes, he was behind the Kyuubi attack. He was afraid of me and wanted to get rid of me. The prospect of destroying Konoha during this was just a bonus to him. Man, will he be furious when everybody finds out about my resurrection. Minato grinned evilly. I see, Sarutobi said. By the way, do you want to retake your position as Hokage? I'm way too old for this and the paperwork is going to kill me one day. Oh, come on, don't tell me that you still didn't figure out how to handle this little problem, Minato said unbelievingly. You know how to deal with it without going crazy? Sarutobi asked hopefully. Of course I know. Did you think I wanted to spend my life with doing hellish paperwork day in day out? Kushina would have crucified me if I didn't spend an appropriate amount of time with her. Especially during her mood swings when she was pregnant with Naruto. Minato shuddered at the thought. I only went to the important meetings myself, the rest handled shadow clones. Neat little invention, I must say. Sarutobi's reaction was interesting to say the least. He began banging his head on the desk and murmuring stupid, stupid, stupid all over. Minato chuckled at the sight. Kakashi looked sheepish. For your question. Yes, I will retake the position, even if the majority of Konoha doesn't deserve it. But I figure that in this position I will be able to protect Naruto best. But not immediately. I need some time and I have to plan how to make the takeover so that the council will regret how they made my son's life miserable. Sarutobi and Kakashi knew for sure that there would be deaths. Nobody in his right mind angered the Yellow Flash and got away unharmed. And he wasn't just angry, he was furious. An international incident. Minato exited the tower after 2 hours of discussion with the Sandaime. Naruto was still asleep in his arms. A black hooded cloak, courtesy of Kakashi, who was more than happy to have his sensei back, hid Naruto's blonde hair. His face wasn't visible to anybody. His henge in place again, Minato walked through the night. His destination was the Namikaze mansion he had inherited from his grandfather, who raised him after his father died on a mission when Minato was 2 years old. His grandfather and his wife were also the first Namikazes to come to Konoha. They weren't a clan, just a family, where the ninja business had tradition. Only after him becoming Hokage that had been changed, as every family that produced a Hokage was given clan status and a council seat by law of the Shodaime Hokage. All the others had to have a certain number of members and abilities to gain clan status. Approaching the wealthier part of the village, Minato's senses worked intensely. It would be a problem if he was seen entering his mansion, as the villagers weren't to be told about him for some time. Naruto slept peacefully in his arms. Minato smiled seeing his child's relaxed face. He would ensure that Naruto's life would turn for the better, and if necessary he would kill to ensure this. As he was about to pass the Hyuga compound, he saw a person climb over the wall. Seemingly it was a thief. But how could a thief enter the Hyuga compound undetected? And what did he steal? Minato merged with the shadows and produced a shadow clone to look after Naruto while he would stop the thief. Hayashi Hyuga was his best friend after all, and it wouldn't be good for their friendship if he let a thief escape. He could have stolen delicate information. As Minato came near the stranger, he could see that it was a man, but he didn't have a sack with valuables or some scrolls. He had a little girl under his arm. Minato got angry. Thievery was one thing, but kidnapping was despicable like no other crime. He acted fast and threw one of his 3-pronged kunai next to the kidnapper and appeared with a yellow flash next to him. The man was too shocked to react in time and was knocked out by Minato so he could be brought to Inoichi for interrogation. Then he could see another man jumping over the wall and coming straight for them. Minato quickly took his kunai and put it into his pouch. He was surprised to see Hayashi being the man that approached him and his prisoner. Hayashi looked at the scene. Minato was busy restricting the kidnapper with ninja wire so he couldn't escape. Then he saw the girl lying next to the kidnapper. "Hinata," Hayashi said, and knelt next to the girl to check her for injuries. "Thank goodness she isn't injured," he said soon. Then he turned his face to Minato. "I have to thank you for rescuing my daughter," he said. "It was my pleasure. I coincidentally walked this way when I saw him coming over the wall, and I investigated. When I saw that he had kidnapped a girl, I sneaked up to him and rendered him unconscious for interrogation." Hayashi nodded and pulled the mask of the face of the kidnapper. He was furious. It was the ambassador of the Raikage. "Kumo tries to play dirty, they will see the consequences," Hayashi growled, trying to uphold his stoic face in front of this stranger. "By the way, who was he? Could you please come with me to the Hokage? We have to report this. Kumo will have to pay for trying to kidnap my daughter." Minato sighed. This seemed to become a long night. "Of course. But let me first get my son to my house. I left him with the shadow clone back there." He pointed in the direction. It would be useless to try and trick Hayashi. If he turned his Byakugan on him, he would be able to see through his henge immediately. And he was one of the few people he could probably trust with the truth. Hayashi looked in the direction and saw a person with a small kid come around. Seemingly the child was asleep, but he couldn't make out any features because of the black hooded cloak. "Do you want to take your daughter back home before we go to see the Hokage?" Minato asked. "I would rather let her stay with me. I don't know if this was the only one who would try to kidnap her. I can't even understand how he was able to infiltrate the compound. It should be impossible without inside help. Therefore I prefer to take her with me." "I understand. Then please follow me. My home isn't far away." Hayashi nodded and followed Minato with Hinata in his arms. Minato's shadow clone took the kidnapper and left to the ANBU headquarters for interrogation. When they reached their destination, Hayashi didn't believe his eyes. That was Minato's mansion they stood in front of. "What?" asked Hayashi, suspicious. "Let's get inside, there I will explain." Minato stopped Hayashi's question, checking if he lied and not seeing any deception on his face. Hayashi agreed. Minato shifted Naruto in his arms so he could free his left hand and bit his finger. He smeared the blood on the seal at the gate, and after a few seconds the gate opened. Minato stepped inside and Hayashi followed. The gate closed behind them. At the front door of the house, Minato repeated the process and opened the house. He took a look around. It had paid off to put self-cleaning seals all over the place. He had been too busy to keep the house clean, and Kushina had hated this kind of work. He was a little sad at the thought of his late wife, but he would be strong for their son. He had been given a second chance, he would use it. He entered the living room. Yuendi motioned Hayashi to take a seat at the couch. He sat and locked his eyes on Minato, who laid Naruto on another couch, took away the cloak and put a blanket over his son. Okay, I think you want to know how I can enter the Namikaze mansion, right? He asked. Indeed, Hayashi responded. All right. But you must promise me that you won't tell anybody besides the Hokage and Kakashi, as they already know Hayashi. Minato dropped the hinge. Minato? Hayashi was shocked. How is this possible? You are dead. I saw your dead body before the funeral. I was dead, Hayashi. I was resurrected by the death god just today. And to be honest, I'm pissed at the way Konoha treated my son. But that will have to wait until a later date. But I can assure you, I will see that there will be consequences. I didn't ask for the impossible, just that my son was treated like the hero he is for ensuring the imprisonment of the Kyuubi. Hell, if he had been treated like any other child, I wouldn't be this furious. Hayashi could feel the killing intent that emanated from Minato. He was sad that he hadn't been able to help Naruto more, but the civilian council had blocked every attempt to help the boy. I know that you tried to adopt Naruto in the Hyuga clan through your brother, and I'm grateful for this. You can be sure there will be some very interesting meetings with the council in a few days. I just need to collect some proof. Minato grinned evilly. I'm looking forward to it. Those fools meddled enough with the affairs of the ninjas in this village. Hayashi couldn't other that snicker. He had his best friend back and things would be very interesting in the near future. What about Danzo? Hayashi asked, knowing that the leader of Root would be the biggest problem. I plan to turn him into my ally. I know one thing for sure, he is absolutely loyal to Konoha and wants the village to be strong, the strongest amongst the great nations. Only his ways to reach this goal are twisted. He has some valuable ideas that I intend to realize, a better schooling system at first. We can't let our children be unprepared for war times when there are enemies outside of the caliber of Orochimaru or Madara Uchiha. Yes, Madara is alive, Minato said, reading Hayashi's surprised expression. He was behind the Kyuubi attack. We will strengthen Konoha at all areas, and for this, I will ask Sensei Jiraiya to retrieve my mother. Your mother, Minato? I thought after your father died, you became an orphan. I mean, you grew up with your grandparents. That's true, Hayashi. But do you know the name of my father? He asked. No, I thought you were uncomfortable to speak about it, so I never asked. His name was Dan Namikaze. He and my mother weren't married, just engaged. I was born during the Second Shinobi World War, and if word got out, I would have been the prime target for my mother's enemies. She was too well known. Realization dawned on Hayashi's face. Oh my god, Tsunade? Yes, Tsunade Senju is my mother. For security reasons I got my father's surname. I think when she learns that I'm alive again and that she has a grandson she can spoil, it won't be a problem to get her to return to start a medical education program like she wanted during the war. Hayashi had to digest this information. His best friend was directly related to two of the former Hokages, and one of the Sannin. Do you intend to drop this bomb on the council? Asked Hayashi. What do you think? He asked, grinning. What better way would there be to punish them for the treatment of my son than to drop the wrath of an angry grandmother, who just happens to be one of the Sannin on them? My killing intent is nothing compared to my mother's. They are directly responsible for the mistreatment of the heir to two clans of Konoha, as Naruto is the heir to the Namikaze clan, the Senju clan, and on top he is the grandson of the current king and queen of Whirlpool. Kushina was their youngest daughter. The daimyo will be more than displeased to hear this. I heard you have very good connections to the royal court? Minato asked innocently. Sometimes you can be really cruel, but I understand you completely. When do we start? Minato looked at him. Did you think I would let you do this all alone, Minato? You are my best friend. I will help you with collecting the proof needed, and then I will sit in my council seat and enjoy the show you will set up. But another issue. What do you think will be the best way to handle Kumo? Send them one of my three-pronged kunai, and remind them that it is very ill-advised to make the yellow flash angry. It's really good to have you back, Minato, Hayashi said, smiling. It didn't take the two men long to explain everything to the Sandaime. He was angry at the attempt to kidnap Hinata. Where is Hinata now? Sarutobi asked. At my mansion, Minato answered. The building and the grounds are completely secured with my strongest seals. Nobody below my level as a seals master will be able to disable them, Minato explained. Very good. Hayashi, I think you want to return to your clan and start an investigation how the ambassador of Kumo could enter. I think you are right if you think that he must have had inside help, Sarutobi said. Yes, thank you, Hokage-sama, Hayashi said and bowed. Minato, can Hinata stay for the night at your mansion? It would ease my thoughts when I knew nobody could do anything to her. No problem, Hayashi, but won't she be scared when she wakes up and is in an unknown place? I will send Hizashi to look after her. He is the only one I trust enough to not try anything against her. Especially as I managed to suspend the sealing of his son Niji. Do you still have this idiotic practice in your clan? I thought you wanted it to stop, Minato grumbled. He hated the practically slavery of the branch house of the Hyuga clan. That was not the way how you treated your family. It's not that easy, Minato. The elders oppose me in this with all their might. It would need a quick strike to free all members of the branch family of the seal without them recognizing it until it's too late. Or something that would overrule the clan laws. Minato nodded, knowing Hayashi was right. Tell Hizashi to come to my mansion in half an hour. I will await him, Minato said. Hayashi nodded. Minato concentrated and disappeared in a yellow flash. Things will change with him back here, Hayashi said, happy. Yes, I'm glad he is back. I'm too old to be the Hokage, Sarutobi sighed. Friend. Hinata stirred in her sleep. Slowly she opened her eyes and looked around. First she only thought she was still asleep, but then she saw that she wasn't at her room at her clan's compound. She panicked and ran to the door. She tried to reach the door handle, but it was too high above her. She looked for another exit, but the window was too high to climb outside. Frightened, she sat down on the bed and hugged her knees. She cried when she heard steps in front of the door. The door opened and a blond man, she never saw before, entered. Ah, you are awake, Hinata, that's good. You don't need to be afraid, he said, smiling. My name is Minato and I am a friend of your father Hayashi. He is at your clan compound and investigates how it was possible that the man who tried to kidnap you could enter undetected. Hinata's eyes widened in fear. Hey, it's okay, we got the man and he is in prison right now. He can't hurt you anymore. Hinata nodded weakly. By the way, your uncle Hizashi will be here in I think 10 minutes or so to explain everything to you. Your father asked me if you could stay here for the night because he doesn't know how it was possible that somebody entered your home. Do you want to come down with me? My son would be happy to meet you. Oh, okay, Hinata said, unsure if she should believe the man. But if her uncle would come in a few minutes, it surely would be all right. Down in the living room, Naruto was awake and inspected everything around him. It was fascinating for him that he would live in this big house with his father. The living room he awoke in 10 minutes ago was huge. But it gave him a feeling of warmth. The furniture was holed in a light sort of wood he hadn't seen ever before. There were closets, shelves with lots of books on them, 2 couches of black leather with white comfy cushions on them, 2 armchairs of the same look as the couches and a glass table in the middle of them. He saw a big television set. On some of the shelves were photos of some people. The only one he recognized was a picture of his father with 3 teenagers. One of them looked a lot like the gray-haired man he saw at the entrance hall of the tower his father called Kakashi, if he remembered correctly. He was so happy, he couldn't stop to grin. It was still strange for him to have a father. All the caretakers at the orphanage had been wrong. His father loved him, and he said he wasn't a demon like they told him. He heard steps at the stairs and ran to the door to look. There was his father with a girl with dark hair and nearly white eyes. That kind of eyes he had never seen before, and there had been a lot of different children at the orphanage. His father and the girl came over to him. His father smiled at his curious face. Naruto, this is Hinata Hyuga. She is the daughter of my best friend Hayashi Hyuga, the head of the Hyuga clan. She will stay with us for the night, as Hayashi has an investigation to run. Why? Naruto asked. There was a bad man who tried to kidnap Hinata, and before Hayashi doesn't know how he got inside, it will be safer for Hinata if she stays with us. Why? Naruto asked again. Because our house is the safest in the whole village. Minato explained. Why? Minato thought this could take a while. His son used the possibility to ask as many questions as possible. Because there are seals all over the place that can't be broken by anybody but a seal master as strong as me, and there are only very few who are at my level. What are seals, Daddy? At least he didn't ask why. Minato thought. Seals are a special art ninjas use. Like ninjutsu, genjutsu and taijutsu, which are the 3 basic arts. Seals have different uses. You can store things in a scroll to transport them easier if you use a storage seal. Then there are seals that can make things explode. They are called exploding tags. You can blind people with flash seals. And that are just a few. There are nearly no limits to the use of seals except the imagination of the seal master. If you understand how to make them, you can do a lot of things. Naruto looked at his father in awe. Then he looked at Hinata, who seemed to be afraid. Naruto decided to try to get to know the other child. He never had the possibility to befriend another child due to the caretakers who isolated him from the other children at the orphanage. And this girl's father was a friend of his father. Surely he was okay with him befriending her? Hey, I'm Naruto, do you want to play? He asked. Hinata looked at him and found herself captured in his deep blue eyes. She never before felt like she could trust somebody so fast as it was the case with Naruto. I'm Hinata, I would like to play, she said quietly, but Naruto heard it all the same. Yeah, what do you want to play? He asked, bouncing with energy. Naruto, please stay in the house for playing, okay? It's already dark outside and I don't want you to get lost in the darkness, Minato said. Naruto looked at his father and nodded. He looked questioning at Hinata, who seemed to be afraid for some reason. Hinata? Naruto asked. It's just, Hinata tried to explain. Minato seemed to read her thoughts. Is it because you don't want to be alone in a place you know nobody? He asked kindly. Hinata nodded. I have a suggestion. Why don't you two come with me and I show you the house? You haven't seen very much of it yourself, Naruto. When we are done, Hinata's uncle Hizashi should be here to tell her what is happening at her family's compound. Naruto nodded and Hinata followed after a little while. Naruto enthusiastically took her hand. Let's go, Daddy, Naruto said. Minato couldn't help himself but grin at the cute picture in front of him. They needed the rest of the time until Hisashi showed up for Minato to show the two children the ground floor of the mansion. It consisted of the living room, a storage room for kitchen supplies, a bathroom, the training dojo, a meditation room, and the kitchen, which was as big as the one in the orphanage, which was built so they could cook for nearly 200 children. Naruto asked his father why the kitchen was so big. Well, Naruto, while the Namikaze hadn't been a clan until a few years ago, we always had a lot of people who did business with us due to our natural talents with seals. It's a family tradition to learn about them. So there often were large groups of people who came over for dinner. That and my grandmother always loved to invite lots of friends for parties. She was a great cook. Naruto nodded. Daddy, are there more Namikazes? Naruto asked him. Yes, Naruto, but only one. We three are the last of the Namikaze. But we have a few other relatives. Naruto looked interested. Why did they never show up? He asked finally with his head down. Hinata looked at Naruto, not knowing why he seemed to be so sad. Naruto? She asked carefully. Why are you sad? It's just that I have been alone for as long as I know, Naruto said, whispering. Minato knelt down before him and hugged him. That is in the past. I will do everything I can that you will never be alone again, Naruto, he said, assuring. He stroked Naruto's back. Naruto nodded. It was a great feeling when his father held him. He felt completely safe. It was a completely new feeling, but he didn't want it to end. I also want to help you. I don't want you to be alone, Hinata said as Naruto and Minato ended the hug. Really? Naruto asked the girl. She nodded while looking shyly at the floor. Thank you, Hinata, he said and hugged the girl. Hinata got a strange feeling. On one side it felt good, on the other she was extremely nervous. Why, she couldn't figure out. Minato saw Hinata's behavior and instantly knew that she had inherited the shy personality of her mother in her younger years. It would be hard for the girl in her position as heiress to the Hyuga clan. Hopefully she wouldn't break during the harsh training. Perhaps his seemingly hyperactive son could help her. He continued to show them the rest of the ground floor. This is the training dojo of our family. My father built it when he became a ninja. He wanted a place where he could train in secret when he developed new techniques, Minato explained. The children looked at the large room that was laid out with tatami mats. In one corner were training utensils, in another was a closet for towels. Then there were 2 training posts for different uses. I used this dojo regularly, Minato told them with a smile. Did you invent techniques, Minato-sama? Hinata asked politely. There is no need to call me Sama, Hinata. I'm not that old. Just call me Minato. And yes, I invented some techniques. Please, Daddy, can you show us? Naruto asked curiously, jumping up and down in anticipation. Minato thought for a while. Sure, but I can't show you the full force of one because it's too dangerous. This is the first one. He took a 3-pronged kunai out of his pouch and threw it to the other side of the dojo. In a flash of yellow he disappeared and reappeared next to his kunai. This is my Hiraishin no Jutsu, he explained. It allows me to travel to the kunai I threw in the blink of an eye. It was this jutsu that got me my nickname, the Yellow Flash of Konoha. Hinata seemed to remember something. Her eyes grew wide. Minato, are you the Yandame Hokage? She asked. Minato scratched the back of his head while grinning. Yes, I am. Wow, why didn't you tell me, Daddy? Naruto asked. It wasn't the right time. I mean, I just returned today and then there were enough other things which were more important at the time. I would have told you later. Naruto nodded, seemingly okay with the answer. You said there are some relatives. Who are they? Naruto asked. Well, first there is my mother Tsunade, your grandmother. I hope she will return to Konoha when she finds out that we are still alive. She left because she thought that we were dead. But why would she think that? Well, the reason I couldn't be with you was that 3 years ago on the day you were born the Kyuubi no Kitsune attacked Konoha. Why? Nobody knew at the time. I was able to defeat Kyuubi, but it was at a high price. I could just return today. Where were you? I will tell you when you are older. It's a bit complicated. Naruto pouted. Minato ruffled his hair. Well, aside from your grandmother there is my cousin Shizun. She is Tsunade's apprentice. You must know your grandmother is the best medic nin there is. What is an apprentice, Daddy? A student who gets more intensive training from his master. Normally you learn in groups of 3 genin when you graduate from the ninja academy. You have one jonin sensei who teaches the 3 genin. But an apprentice most of the time is the sole student of this jonin, and then the teacher teaches his own special things and not only the general things a ninja must know to survive. Naruto nodded. He kind of understood this. Can I become a ninja too, Daddy? He asked enthusiastically. If you really want it, of course you can, Naruto. You come from a family who had many exceptional ninjas. I'm sure you have talent, Minato said kindly. Naruto's smile could have illuminated the night. Hinata, will you become a ninja too? Naruto asked then. Well, I think yes. My family members are almost all ninja. That would be great, then we can learn to be ninjas together. A small red tint was recognizable on Hinata's cheeks. She nodded and smiled. Naruto thought she was cute with this smile. Then Naruto remembered something. Hinata, do you know any games to play in the house? No, not really. There are not many children my age in the Hyuga clan, just my cousin and he is a year older, and I just met him today. I never really had somebody to play with. She seemed to be disappointed. Naruto could understand the look. While he had lived with lots of children, he never was allowed to play with them. Then we can play together from now on, and perhaps we can make our own games. I only know some for outside which I could see when the other kids in the orphanage played. Do you want? Hinata looked at him and saw he was unsure. She just nodded. It would be nice to have somebody to play with, and Naruto seemed to be a nice boy. When she nodded, Minato could see that a great weight fell from Naruto. He knew his son wanted a friend more than anything else, and aside from his own friends' children, it would be hard to find some with all the prejudices the villagers held. This moment the doorbell rang. I think this is your Uncle Hinata. Let's go and welcome him. The children nodded. All three went to the entrance hall to greet Hisashi. Hisashi was in a kind of stupor. His brother had taken him aside when he came home from the Hokage, and told him he needed him for a special job. Hinata had been kidnapped, and was now at the mansion of a friend because he didn't know who he could trust in the clan until he was trough a thorough investigation. To ensure that Hinata wasn't totally frightened because she doesn't know his friend, he should look after her. But what Hisashi didn't expect was the fact that he stood now in front of the Namake's mansion. The last Namake's was dead for 3 years. Well, or that was what the public knew. His son was just 3 years old, and lived under a different name to protect him from his father's enemies. Damned civilian part of the council. If it hadn't been for them, Naruto would have a happier life. He could grow up with his son Neji and his niece Hinata. Why did Hayashi send him to Minato's mansion? Well, he would see. He rang the doorbell and waited. Soon he saw 3 figures approach the gate. One was an adult, 2 were children. He suspected one had to be Hinata. When the gate opened, Hisashi was shocked. He never thought he would see this face again. Come in and hurry. I will explain inside, Minato said quietly. Hisashi nodded and the 3 went back inside the house. When they sat in the living room, Minato explained again to Hisashi what had happened while Naruto and Hinata played with a ball in the training dojo. So that's the story. I'm alive because Shinigami-sama sucks at poker. I don't know who has the worst luck, him or my mother, he said, laughing. I understand, but it is a lot to take in, that's for sure. By the way, as we have some time to kill until Hayashi is finished with the investigation, can you tell me some of the important things that happened in Konoha the last 3 years? Of course, Minato. Well, to start it, the council forced some changes in the command. They seem to think that they can overrule the Hokage and make him a figurehead. As the Sandaime is old, he just tries to keep the peace between opposing groups. He clearly wants to pass the responsibility for the village to someone younger. But without you there were no suitable candidates. But that leads to more problems as they use his softness for their benefit. Corruption is growing, and that is never a good thing. Danzo tried to reason with the Sandaime that we can't afford to lose strength, especially after the losses of the Kyuubi attack. But it was not successful. Due to this, I think he intensified to build up his root unit. He opened his own orphanage where the children are trained to be ninjas. The only problem is he is overdoing it. Yes, I know. I will talk with him soon. If I can manage to reason with him, he can become an invaluable ally. I know that it can be lethal to show emotions at the battlefield, but in private you are doomed without them. You need a balance between the two. Hisashi nodded. The competition between the Hyuga and the Uchiha has reached new heights. The Uchiha bastards think that due to their eyes they are unbeatable. This is infused by their newest prodigy Itachi. He is just 11 and already tuned in on the best way to Jonin. His Sharingan is fully developed, but I think he is a pleasant exception to the normally high-headed Uchiha. He actually worked for his abilities. That is the reason why the ANBU has their eyes on him. How do you know Hisashi? Well, if you weren't Hokage I weren't able to tell you, but I am ANBU captain myself. Hayashi covers me. The elders of the clan don't know or they would throw a fit, he chuckled. Damn those bastards. They should be proud to have an ANBU captain in the clan. It's an honor. If I was a main house member possibly, but I am the head of the branch house, so I can't be better than the main house, or so they think. The 2 children chose this moment to turn up. They seemed to be tired. Finished with playing? Minato asked kindly. Naruto nodded and yawned. Hinata and I are hungry and thirsty, Daddy, Naruto told him. Then let's go to the kitchen and get you 2 something. I hope there are some rests that haven't expired yet. Well, tea will be right. Minato took Naruto up into his arms and Hisashi took Hinata. After a while the 2 sat at the floor of the living room eating some quickly cooked noodles and drinking tea. Minato made a mental note to go shopping the next day. He needed groceries and he had to buy some clothes for Naruto. The ones that were in his room were meant for an infant, not a toddler. When the children finished, the 2 adults took them upstairs to the 2nd floor where the room Hinata stayed before and Naruto's room were. After a quick visit to the bathroom where Minato added a toothbrush and toothpaste to his to-buy list, he and Hisashi tucked the children in bed and left them there to sleep. Naruto was too tired to really take in the look of his room. That would be a thing he would do tomorrow. He was asleep after a few minutes with a smile on his face. This day, which started as the worst of his life, had turned out to be the best. His father came back. He had a new home and made a friend with Hinata. Minato smiled happy at his son's sleeping form and closed the door quietly. An ally. In his secret office, Danzo pondered over his future plans. Sarutobi was making a mistake to let the civilians take so much control over ninja business. He was once a great warrior, and Danzo respected his old rival for that. He had a lot of his strength left, but his will was wavering. It had been the right decision to step down and let a younger candidate take over. While he would have preferred Orochimaru for his hardliner view of things, it was impossible to overlook his experiments on citizens of Konoha. It was foolish to weaken the village like that, even if some of the experiments might have been successful. That fool should have used criminals instead. Then he would have continued to support him. Minato Namikaze was not his favorite, but he couldn't deny that the man was strong. Better, he was feared in their enemies' countries. Nobody in their right mind would have dared to oppose the Yellow Flash. And when necessary, he would kill without hesitation. Yes, he had been able to arrange himself with the Yondaime Hokage, but the actual situation was a problem. He wanted Konoha to become strong again after the Kyuubi attack. They had lost too much. A lot of their best shinobi, and on top Namikaze himself. With him fell their best enemy repellent. It was just luck that Kumo and Iwa were weakened from the war and not able to capitalize the weakness of Konoha. Kiri was undergoing the bloodline purge and Suna was their ally. For the moment, everything was under control. But he had a feeling that the Reikage had plans that went over a truce when he sent his ambassador to Konoha. Thinking that he wouldn't figure it out in the office, he stood up to return to his home. Minato's shadow clone was positioned at the periphery of Danzo's home. He wanted to contact the man when nobody would see it, and the best option was at night when he returned from whatever he was doing. He had waited for 3 hours already when the man arrived. When he came in a distance of 30 yards, he stopped. "Come out, whoever you are," Danzo said calmly. "I will if you send your 3 dogs at a distance of 100 yards away. They can see you but won't be able to listen to us." "I have a proposition for you," Danzo, Minato's shadow clone answered. Danzo thought about it. The distance wasn't enough to be a threat to him. The little time until his men would need to cross it won't be enough to kill him. "I agree," Danzo said. His 3 hidden bodyguards sprang out of their hideouts and out the ass distance between them and their leader. Minato came out of his hideout under a henge. "I'm glad you agreed to listen to me. I think my proposal will benefit both of us and Konoha in its completeness. I heard that you strived to strengthen Konoha but were put down from your plans by the Hokage and the council." "That's correct. I think it is a grave mistake to not prepare our young ninja for the real world outside the safety of the village, especially after the Kyuubi attack ripped huge holes in our numbers. We can't produce ninjas in sheer numbers because this needs time, but we can ensure that our ninjas make up for the lack of quantity with quality." But the civilians lowered the education levels that worked well during the wartimes to a ridiculous level. The graduation exams consist of 3 low-level jutsu like Kawarimi, Henge and Bunshin. From them one is chosen. On top of that, the students have to pass a written exam which consists mostly of history and chakra theory on low levels. How will they be able to defend Konoha properly? If the heroes of the war had been educated on that level, we never had won the war. I agree with you that this is devastating for Konoha as a whole. I heard you took countermeasures in secret. What I want to propose is to take your actions to the public and make your retired root agents teachers at the academy. They will be able to prepare the students. I want to make clear that my goal is a strong Konoha that still keeps his unique ability to feel with others. Devastating in battle, caring in private. That will give the customers a good opinion and our enemies will think twice before they even think about an attack. That all sounds good, but how will you realize this? The civilian council will throw a fit, and as they use the time between the death of the Yondaime and the reinstatement of the Sandaime to raise their powers, it will be impossible, especially as Sarutobi don't want to argue with them. He lost his will to be a strong leader. He is still a capable shinobi, but the time he spent as Hokage drained his energy. He isn't even able to protect the boy that could be the greatest asset to our forces if trained correctly. You mean Naruto Uzumaki, right? Yes. I'm sure you know why I can't speak open about his condition, but it will become a danger to Konoha if he isn't trained to control his given powers. While I agree with this, I will never allow for him to become an emotionless killer machine. As I said, we have to keep balance between not showing emotions in battle and not having them. The greatest heroes of Konoha were able to do this professionally, like the first and second Hokages, the White Fang or the Yellow Flash. You yourself should think about it. Emotionally stable ninjas are better ninjas. And you won't have as many candidates that aren't able to stand the stress. The Bloody Mist has shown as much. After Zabuza Momochi killed the entire graduation class, they changed their educational system because it was a waste of talent. What I plan is a very effective use of our resources. Less deaths of shinobi and kunoichi means less compensation for the losses. We already had enough, as you stated. And for how I will achieve it, well, let's just say the council will be surprised when a hero returns. He smirked. Danzo's thoughts were racing. The things this man said sounded really good. The idea to use the retired root agents to teach the children at the academy was brilliant. And if he could do his best to protect Konoha openly, it would even be better. He would still sustain his spy network. One could never have too much information, but the man's identity was an enigma. He seemed to be connected to the Jinchuriki emotionally, otherwise he wouldn't have said that he wouldn't allow for the boy become emotionless. His opinion of the way a ninja should be didn't match his, but it was tolerable. As long as the ninja didn't show emotion on the field, it would suffice, and he had to admit it would be good public relation when the ninjas were seen as humans by the clients. Then they would put in more mission requests. But it left the problem of the currently nearly figurehead Hokage. Your proposal has its merits, but I can't see how this will be possible with the Sandaime being the figurehead the council made him into. Without a successor, who can change the working processes, it won't be realizable. And I don't see any suitable successor for Sarutobi at the moment. There are some promising young ninjas that can be able to do the job in a few years, like Itachi Uchiha or Kakashi Hatake, but they lack experience and are way too young. In 10 years they could be ready. I mean, Itachi is 11 and Kakashi is 17. And that is too late to do what you proposed. And the Sannin, who would be able to be Hokage, left Konoha to lick their emotional wounds. It was a problem when the Yondaime was chosen. Orochimaru was too ruthless, and the only other candidate, Minato Namikaze, who became Hokage, is dead after he sacrificed his life to defeat Kyuubi. And Orochimaru is a traitor now. Yes, you are right, but what would you say if there was a candidate as strong as the Yondaime? Would you support him? I would know if Konoha had someone this strong, Danzo replied. That doesn't answer my question, Minato said. Well, if there was somebody who were as strong as the Yondaime Hokage that shared my opinions that Konoha needs to be strengthened, then I probably would support him. Very well. I will prepare for the next step. Be ready in a week. There will be a meeting of the council in which I will reveal how to realize my proposal. Be sure it will be a great show of power. After it, our goals will start to be realized. You are an interesting fellow. Mind telling me your name? Well, for the moment you can call me Arisher. You will find out everything else during the meeting. Until then, he said, and poofed in a cloud of smoke. Minato received the memories of his cage bunch and smiled. That had been easier than he had thought. Danzo seemed to be an invaluable ally. The first steps had been done. Now all he needed to do was getting proof for the treason of the council to get them removed from their posts. He had a list of all councilors and the decisions they made by Hizashi, who just wanted to get the civilian council back for meddling with ninja affairs and making Naruto's life a living hell. So if I understand this correctly, the main actors on the civilian council are Seiza Haruno, Mikado Trinoma, Hikaru Hotkane and Takuma Kanemoto. They are the leaders, the other three follow their lead. Then there are Hamura Mitokado and Koharu Yudatane of the Elders Council and Fugaka Team Uchiha on the Ninja Council. Yes. Shikaku Nara, Inoichi Yamanaka, Choza Akimichi, Hayashi, Suminazuka, Shibi Aburame and Asuma, who represents the Sarutobi clan for the Sandaime, are their counterparts. Danzo has his own opinion and normally voices this, but never got a majority because the civilians mess around with the help of Koharu and Hamura. Our problem is that we are at a disadvantage as long as the seats of the Senju clan and of the Namikaze clan are not taken. But with you being back, we have at least the Namikaze seat filled. Yes, and when Sensei Jiraiya finds my mother and she returns, the civilian council is at a disadvantage as she will fill the Senju seat and Sensei Jiraiya has a seat at the civilian side. Then the shinobi side has more votes, Danzo's vote included. Even if the Fugaka team votes against us, and when it will be revealed that I'm not only a Namikaze but also a Senju, I can represent both clans if it should be necessary. But my next move will be infiltrating the houses of the counselors and collecting proof. How will you do this? Well, toads are very good spies. Once inside, they can find a lot of information. Especially when they have enough time. And I intend to produce a fantastic distraction tomorrow. What have you planned, Minato? Well, let's just say it would be unwise to go near the shopping district at noon. Shopping, cat and punishment. Early the next morning, Minato waked Naruto. He was still sleepy as he had been up long the last evening. Hey, good morning, sleepyhead, Minato greeted, smiling. Naruto asked. Then he suddenly panicked. No, I didn't oversleep, please don't punish me, he said, holding his hands over his head. Minato flinched and put his hand gently on Naruto's back. You don't have to be afraid, Naruto. I won't punish you for oversleeping. Naruto relaxed at the voice. Then he lowered his arms. Daddy, he said, and smiled brightly. It wasn't a dream. You are really here. Yes, I am. He hugged Naruto, who leaned into the hug, sighing happily. Get ready, Naruto, we want to have breakfast, and then we will bring Hinata home. Ah, I remember. Yes, I now have a friend. Yes, you have. And it won't be nice to let your friend wait for breakfast. Yeah, let's go, Daddy. Naruto jumped out of his bed and looked around for his clothes. His mouth was wide open when he looked at the room. It was a nice room with 2 orange and 2 yellow painted walls. There was a desk with a chair and shelves above. On the shelves were some books and some plush animals. A dark red toad, an orange fox and a blue dolphin. Then there were blocks in different colors. Papers, wax crayons and pencils to draw were on the desk. Do you like it? Your mother Kushina prepared this room for you when she was pregnant with you. Yes, I love it, Daddy, Naruto answered with tears in his eyes. He walked over to the desk and looked longingly at the stuffed animals. Minato understood and reached for them. Which one do you want? He asked. The fox. I like orange, Naruto assured. Minato gave him the plushie. Naruto hugged it happily. Can you tell me a bit about Mommy? He asked shy. Minato felt a pang in his heart. Then he smiled. Of course, Naruto. I will tell you after we have brought Hinata home and we're shopping for some groceries and clothes for you. I have some pictures of her that I can show you. Naruto smiled brightly. Yes, that's great, Daddy. Minato helped Naruto in the bathroom and to get dressed. He only had the clothes from the orphanage and they were more or less all ragged and dirty. 20 minutes later they sat in the kitchen with Hinata and Hisashi and ate breakfast. Hisashi had been at the Hyuga compound to ask Hayashi if it was all right for Hinata to return and to get some things for breakfast. They had toast, bacon and eggs. When they were ready after half an hour, Minato and Hisashi did the dishes and Hinata and Naruto played in the dojo. Then Minato used his henge to hide his true appearance. Why do you look different, Daddy? Naruto asked. I don't want the people of Konoha to know that I'm back yet, so I used a henge no jutsu to hide my normal looks. They will be informed later. Oh, okay. They left the mansion and Minato and Naruto brought Hinata and Hisashi to the Hyuga compound. Well, it was very nice of you to let Hinata stay overnight, Hisashi said. It was no problem. She is welcome at our home to visit whenever she wants, Minato said, and Naruto nodded fervently. Bye, Hinata-chan. I hope I see you again soon. I want to play with you again, it was so much fun, Naruto told Hinata smiling. I would like that too, Naruto-kun, Hinata answered. Minato and Naruto were currently at the grocery store. Minato spread some killing intent to intimidate whoever looked hatingly at Naruto. Coincidentally, when the manager came to throw them out, Kakashi appeared to get his shopping. His appearance intimidated the manager so much that he didn't dare to refuse business to Minato and Naruto. The copy mean had quite a reputation. Hello, Kakashi, such a coincidence to meet you here, Minato greeted him. Kakashi, knowing what his sensei intended, played along. Oh, nice to meet you too, Erasure, Naruto. I wanted to come by later the day to ask if you wanted to train with me, Erasure, just to see if you are still as good as you were 3 years ago. I would like that, Kakashi. But remember last time we sparred I clearly defeated you. I got some more experience, and have some new jutsus you don't know. It will be an interesting match. Well, I look forward to it. Naruto pulled his father's trousers. Daddy, who is this man? He asked. Yes, you haven't met him yet, Minato answered. The customers and the assistants at the shop were speechless. The demon had called this man Daddy, and the man was obviously acquainted with Kakashi Hatake. Naruto, this is Kakashi Hatake. We fought together in the Third Shinobi World War. He is a very powerful ninja and was trained by the Yondaime Hokage. Nice to meet you, Kakashi and Naruto answered politely. My pleasure, Naruto, Kakashi answered with his typical eye smile. Kakashi and why do you have a mask? Naruto asked. It's a tradition of my clan, Kakashi explained. It looks cool, Naruto said. Well, thank you. Where were you headed? He asked Minato. We were going to the clothes shops next as Naruto needs some new things. Well, I will accompany you. I wanted to get some things myself. My dogs ruined some of my socks and civilian clothes. I really need to train them more, Kakashi said. Oh, you have dogs? Can I see them, Kakashi and please? Naruto asked with pleading eyes. Okay, but later, they are at my home. Thank you, Naruto shouted and hugged Kakashi's leg. Minato and Kakashi chuckled at Naruto's antics. They headed to the cashier and paid for their groceries. Minato made a cage bunshin and let him take his things to the house so he had his hands free. Kakashi copied his move and his cage bunshin also brought his things home. Naruto ran in front of the two men and looked curious at everything at the shop windows. He didn't notice the dark looks he got from most of the villagers, but they didn't dare to do more than throw hatred looks at him due to the presence of Minato and Kakashi. The best thing was that the gossip in Konoha traveled as fast as Minato remembered it. The little talk Kakashi and him had at the grocer's was spreading, especially the part that he was a ninja in the Third World War and had beaten Kakashi in a spar. The news that he was Naruto's father got them disbelieving looks. They seem to have problems to accept that Naruto has a father, Kakashi whispered to Minato. Yes, it seems so, but I don't understand why. Well, you must know many believe that Naruto is the reincarnation of his prisoner, so the fact he has a father crushes disbelieving. They are such idiots, Minato grumbled. Only because the villagers were idiots his son had to suffer. Well, I can't wait to see what will happen after the council meeting in 6 days. Do you think Tsunade will have returned until then? Probably. I sent a toad to Sensei yesterday and the summons can communicate between each other. For something this important they will use their connection to get the message to Mom as soon as possible. I hope you are right. The civilian council needs to be put in place. They ruin our forces with their incompetence. Minato nodded. They passed an alley on the way to the clothes store. Suddenly a cat leapt onto Naruto and threw him to the ground. He cried surprised and caught the cat. Then other cries came from the alley. It ran this way, Naruto heard. He looked surprised at the cat and stroked it absent-mindedly. The cat purred. It was a dark brown cat with red ribbon at his ear. Minato and Kakashi looked unbelievingly at the scene. That cat? Minato asked. I don't believe it. It must be a relative to the Nibi. I had to chase it when I was a genin, he said. Daddy, what's wrong? Naruto asked. There it is, a boy of 12 shouted. He and 2 other 12-year-olds came through the alley. They suddenly stopped and took in the scene with disbelieving looks on their faces. There sat a little blonde boy with the demon cat on his legs on the street and stroked it. And the demon cat purred. Soda, please hit me. I think I dreamed, the girl of the group asked her teammate. He did her the favor. Ouch, okay, this isn't a dream. Excuse me, little boy, she asked kindly. Yes? Naruto answered. Could we please take the cat back to her owner? It is our mission to catch it. Naruto clearly didn't look pleased. Daddy, must I? Naruto asked. Yes, Naruto, but I think we could accompany them to the Hokage Tower, as I have never seen this cat this peaceful as in your arms. We could spare these genin a lot of scratches, he pondered. Okay. I would like to visit the old man. Minato helped Naruto to stand up, and the genin contacted their sensei that they had found the cat and would meet him at the tower. They reached the tower, and the sensei of the group recognized Kakashi and Naruto but not Minato. He was suspicious. But he didn't say anything because of the law. What are they doing here? He asked his genin team. Sensei Yago, the cat fled through an alley as we chased it and then leapt onto Naruto-kun, who was thrown to the ground by the impact. He caught the cat and it let him stroke it and seemingly liked it. That was the situation when we arrived. As the cat seems less violent with Naruto, his father Arashir suggested to accompany us to spare us the scratches. Well, that's nice of Arashi-san. Well, I have never seen you around Arashi-san. Why is this? Yago asked. That's because I was absent for 3 years. I fought against the Kyuubi like so many others that day and could just return yesterday. If you want to know more about it, you have to ask Hokage-sama, as he asked me not to tell the details just now. I see, Yago said. It was possible that the Hokage wanted to keep something secret. If Arashir got a secret mission after the Kyuubi attack, it would have been easy to declare him missing in action, MIA. But why did the demon boy call him his father? He was the Kyuubi now, wasn't he? But why was Kakashi Hatake so relaxed around the boy and joked with him? They climbed the stairs to the mission room while Minato carried Naruto, as his legs were too short to climb the stairs himself without his arms, and they were occupied with the cat. They reached the room and Sota knocked. Come in, they heard. The 7 went in, and the ninjas on duty looked twice because they didn't expect such a large group. Team 5 reporting back, Yago declared. The Sandaime looked smiling at the genin, and then Naruto. I think you have an interesting story to tell us, he said. Yes, Hokage-sama, the girl said. She reported the chase of Tora and how they found the cat with Naruto, and how it was that Naruto and the others accompanied them. The wife of the fire daimyo arrived and was happy to see that her cat was found again. Yago took the cat from Naruto and gave it to her, and she squeezed it while Tora yelled, "Oh, my precious little Tora, I was so worried that you were lost." Stop it, Naruto said, and tugged on the long robes of the lady. Please, you hurt Tora, he said. Everybody was silent at his words. What do you mean, boy? She asked. I love my little Tora, but when you hug her like this it hurts her. Don't you see this? He looked at her and the cat and was worried about Tora. He got a liking to the cat in the short time he had carried her and didn't want the cat to be hurt. Oh, and what do you, a little boy, know about things like this? The lady asked. I can hear her cries, Naruto said. She doesn't want to be squeezed and not be able to breathe. You can understand her? The lady asked disbelievingly. Naruto nodded. I can show you, he said. She knelt next to the boy. Come here, Tora, he said, and the cat leapt to him. He stroked her while holding her gently. You see, she likes being held like this much better. She purrs. Tora, if this lady will be more gentle, would you like this more? He asked innocently. Tora looked at him, and then her owner, and it looked like she nodded. She said yes, Naruto declared. The adults were stunned. That was an incredible ability. The lady took Tora back and tried to hold her like Naruto did. Tora was nervous, but with each gentle stroke she relaxed more and more in the lady's arms. I think I have to thank you, boy. I never wanted to hurt my precious Tora. What's your name? I'm Naruto, he said, smiling. Well, Naruto, you have my thanks. Hokage-sama, here is the payment and an extra bonus for Naruto-chan. She gave the ninja the money and left the office. Minato took Naruto from the floor. Naruto, can you understand every animal or just cats? He asked. More than cats. There were the birds which sang in the mornings or the rabbits in the bushes around the orphanage. The rats told me they wanted food. What rats, Naruto? The Hokage asked. Those in the cellars of the orphanage. Why were you in the cellars? He asked, dreading the worst. The matron locked me in there when it was the day for foster parents to choose children. She said I would scare them away and she wouldn't let that happen to the other children. Minato had a very hard time to suppress his killing intent. I see, the Hokage said. Enbu, he said. Yes, Hokage-sama? Get me the matron of the orphanage Naruto was in. Yes, Hokage-sama, the Enbu answered and vanished. Team 5 was stunned. They never would have thought that a little boy would be treated like this. Who was this Naruto? He seemed a very nice child. Yago was thinking hard. Could a demon be this nice? Or was he just playing nice to be underestimated? But if he was a demon, why didn't he fight back? And he just solved the everlasting problem of the escapes of Tora the demon cat, the bane of every genin team. Team 5, you are dismissed, the Hokage said. The 4 bowed and left the office. Sarutobi, can you trust the ninjas in this room absolutely? Minato asked, trembling with fury. Sarutobi looked around and dismissed the 2 Chunin. The ANBU were trustworthy. Minato dropped the henge, and in his eyes everybody could see that he would murder the matron. Let me punish this woman. I will show her what happens when you mistreat children, especially my son. The ANBU didn't show any open sign that they saw the Yondaime Hokage and that he said the Jinchuriki was his son. This moment 2 things happened. Danzo entered the room and was more than surprised, and the ANBU arrived with the orphanage matron. The Sandaime rubbed his temples. Kakashi, please take Naruto with you. He mustn't see this. Minato said. Yes, Sensei, Kakashi answered and took Naruto from Minato. Naruto seemed to be frightened of the matron. What does this monster do here? Why have I been taken from the orphanage? It's time for lunch. I have to observe the other caretakers, the woman ranted. Kakashi shined with Naruto away. Minato grabbed the woman at her collar. Yanyandaime-sama? She asked. How is this possible? Have you returned to finally destroy the demon? Minato slapped the woman in the face. Shut up. What right do you have to treat Naruto like a monster? He is a child. I have heard what you did to him. I only asked for one thing when I sealed Kyuubi in him, to save Konoha. For him to be seen as the hero he is, to tame the demon. To be the prison which grants the safety from the demon fox. He isn't the demon. He is the Kyuubi incarnation, the woman said. He is my son, you imbecile scum. You have forfeited your life. Any last words? Minato asked. But I always did my duty. You mistreated a child under your care. He is malnourished, had to stay in the cellar with rats when the possible foster parents came for adoption of children. He was isolated from the other children. Never allowed to play with them. I'm surprised that he is able to speak as well as he is able to. That would be my fault, Danzo said. Minato looked at him questioningly. Would you care to explain, Danzo? He asked. My old root members saw how the boy was treated in the orphanage. They told me their findings and I tried to get Naruto to move to my orphanage. I knew he would be talented and wanted to train him as a ninja later, but Hokage-sama thought it would be better for him to stay there, so the only thing I was able to do was to regularly send one man to the orphanage to speak with the boy. I knew that Hokage-sama wanted him to attend the ninja academy later on, but for this he had to be able to communicate with others on a sufficient level. Thank you for your efforts, Danzo. I really appreciate this, Minato said. Now to you, he told the woman. He concentrated chakra in his right hand. It formed a spiraling sphere. Rasengan, Minato said, and thrust his hand into the woman's stomach. She crashed with a big impact into the wall. She was dead. Minato looked at Danzo. Do you coincidentally have more information on the treatment my son got at that orphanage? Yes, I have. I think it would be wise to have a talk in private later on, Yandaime-sama, he said. Minato nodded. Danzo, why did you never tell me this? I tried to protect Naruto, the Sandaime asked. You wouldn't have been able to do anything, Hiruzen. The council has you under their thumbs. They would have said that you showed favoritism to the boy, even if it was just the normal treatment every child needs. But as a Jinchuriki, Naruto needs more guidance than every other child when he has to be able to control the chakra of his Biju. He needs special training. I had more possibilities to operate from the shadows, as everybody think I'm only a crippled old man. But I still have my contacts. You remember our talk yesterday? Minato asked. Now the last piece of the puzzle is in place, Danzo said. I guess you will retake your position as Hokage again? Yes, after I have collected enough proof to cut the privileges the civilian council instated for themselves after my death. Well, I guess then we should proceed to our private talk. I have some things to do before we can talk, Danzo. Please come to my mansion at 8 this evening. Then I will reveal my plans for Konoha's future to you. Sarutobi, please think of a cover story for the death of this woman. Yes, Minato. I'm glad that in 1 week you will be Hokage again. I have had enough of these headaches for the rest of my life. Minato grinned. Okay, see you later, he said, and shined away. Well, that was interesting, Danzo said. You have no clue, Danzo. Konoha is in for a storm. He will turn everything upside down and get rid of everybody who he thinks is a threat to Konoha. He won't be the same he was when he first took the mantle, and that is what I look forward to. He was a formidable warrior, but he was kind of naive. Now, after he saw how Konoha treated his son, he will be more realistic. I just hope that he won't sacrifice everything Konoha stands for. The will of fire is unique to us, and I don't want to lose this. It is what made Konoha strong in the past and allowed us to bloom. He told me his goal for our ninja picture. On the field, able to suppress their emotions to perfectly fulfill their mission, but caring in their private life. I have thought about this last night after he made his proposition to help him with his goals, and I must say he has matured. I look forward to the changes he will start. It is about time that everybody is reminded of the true power a Hokage has. Naruto and Kakashi were at a public playground where Naruto was at the swing with Kakashi pushing him. When Minato arrived, he saw his son laughing and was glad he didn't see what he did to the matron of the orphanage. He was in his henge again and walked towards Kakashi and Naruto. When Naruto saw him coming, he let go of the swing and flew through the air. He landed safely on his feet and ran to Minato. Daddy, he shouted happily. Did you see me on the swing? Kakashi and Aizen pushed me really high. It was so much fun. Yes, I saw it, Naruto, and your landing was really good. You will do great when you start your ninja training. He ruffled Naruto's hair. Naruto's happy face was all what Minato needed to put the memory of the execution of the matron at the back of his mind. Let's go, we still have to buy you some new clothes. Okay, Daddy? Minato took Naruto from the ground and put him onto his shoulders. And do you have a good view from there, Naruto? Naruto squealed excitedly. Kakashi had come to them and together they went to the clothing stores. When the three left the playgrounds, a lot of adults began to talk with each other about the meaning of this display. How could the demon child be in the company of the famous Kakashi Hatake, and who was his father? Did you see this? How can the Hokage allow for this thing to run around? What if it attacks our children? A woman asked. Yes, it should be killed and then we will be safe again. I don't understand why the Sandame didn't finish what the Yandame started, another agreed. Stop this idiocy, suddenly a blonde woman said. This boy isn't the demon everybody thinks he is. My husband is a ninja and he explained the working of sealing objects to me because I was worried about the safety of my daughter Ino when I heard about it. The boy is just the prison of the demon, and Inoichi is absolutely sure that Minato Namikaze knew how to construct a seal that was fail-safe. They were classmates at the academy, and even then he was way ahead of everybody in the art of sealing. What are you saying, Rin-san? Would you let your daughter play with this boy? A man asked disbelievingly. I would observe them the first time to make sure Ino is safe, but yes, I would. He is just a child. A child that has to carry a terrible burden to keep everybody safe. You are crazy, he is the reincarnation of the demon. The demon has taken over the body of the child. Now you are the one who babbles nonsense. And by the way, it's forbidden to talk about that. You did see how the child played on the swing? How he laughed when Kakashi, who by the way was the student of Minato Namikaze and should know the abilities of his sensei better than anybody else except perhaps Jiraiya-sama, pushed him higher and higher. Which demon could show such genuine happiness? That isn't a trick of a kitsune, just a little boy who has fun like every other child. Are you sure, Rin? Another woman asked. Yes, Yoshino, I am sure. I think Shikaka would tell you the same. This boy isn't a danger. PFF, Shikaka would just say troublesome and wouldn't bother to explain anything to me, the lazy-ass Yoshino replied. Some women laughed. It was legendary how all Nara men found everything troublesome. Kakashi, Minato and Naruto arrived at the clothes store. Wow, this is a big house, Naruto said. You're right. I'm sure we will find everything we need for you here, Minato said. They entered the store and after a few moments a lot of the customers glared at Naruto. This time he recognized it. Daddy? He asked, unsure why they looked so mean. Don't be afraid, Naruto. I'm with you and nobody will hurt you, Minato ensured. And if they try anything, they will have to answer me first. Nobody treats my little brother bad, Kakashi added. Thank you, Daddy and Nai-san. The people in the store didn't want to believe their ears. The famous copy Nin had called the demon his little brother. What did this mean? Stand aside, suddenly a woman said. Hello, welcome to our store, gentlemen. How can I help you? She asked. The woman was in her late 40s, had blonde hair with a few gray stripes and was probably a retired kunoichi if Minato's thoughts were right. The woman looked at Naruto and then her eyes narrowed. She looked at Minato and Kakashi. She lowered her voice. How comes you say you are his father? I happen to know who his father was and I know for sure he died in the Kyuubi attack. What do you plan? She looked intensely. And if I don't get a sufficient answer, I will dispel this henge of yours to get my answers. This boy has been through enough. I won't let his heart be broken by somebody who uses him to get his father's techniques or fortune. Minato smiled at her words. This was somebody who wanted to protect Naruto, and he had a feeling he should know her from somewhere. I think I met you before. Would you please tell me your name? He asked. My name is Sakuyo Yamanaka, she answered. Now I remember you, Minato said. Kakashi looked at him. Who is she? Kakashi asked. She was the nurse who led the preparation course Kushina visited when she was pregnant with Naruto, Minato answered. I would never have thought to meet her as a store clerk. Why don't you work at the hospital, Sakuyo-san? Minato asked. I asked the questions. Who are you? Minato sighed. There is just one way to prove myself. You are a Yamanaka. If I grant you access to my mind you will see who I am, but I have to ask you to not tell anybody, even Inoichi, of my identity until I reveal it in about 1 week. I still have to prepare some things. All right, I agree. If I find you tell the truth, I won't say anything, she promised. They went to the back of the store where Sakuyo started her technique. Shintenshin no Jutsu, she said, and fell limp. What happened to her? Naruto asked, worried. You don't need to worry, Naruto. She just used a special ninjutsu to look into your father's mind to see if he is really your father, as she don't want you to be hurt. She will awake soon, Kakashi explained. Naruto nodded skeptically. But a few moments later the women awoke and smiled at him, and the others. That's indeed great news, Arashi-san. I'm glad you are back. Well, let's go and search for some clothes for Naruto-kun, Sakuyo said and led the way to the children's department. Return of the Sannin. Jiraiya was happy. No, he was more than happy. He had gotten a message from a toad which Minato had summoned. His student was alive again, and he wanted him and Tsunade to return to the village. Inside he was cursing the council. He and Tsunade had been told by a messenger that Naruto had died the night of the Kyuubi attack and left the village without further goodbye to their sensei. Now Jiraiya wished he had said goodbye. His sensei would have known Naruto was still alive. But his greed for the deaths of Minato, Kushina and Naruto had blinded his senses. He had contacted the chief toad immediately, and asked him to give a message to Tsunade's slug summons. He hoped this way he would reach her faster. He had some ideas where Tsunade could be, but it was very difficult to find her with all her hiding from creditors. Tsunade sat at a casino at the roulette table. She had already lost a lot of money, but she didn't care. She tried to forget the deaths of her beloved people. She asked herself why Kami-sama dealt her such a shitty hand in life. First it was her little brother Nawaki who died in the war. Then when she thought things were looking better, her and Dan's son Minato was just 2 years old and their wedding was already scheduled, Dan died during a fight. She hadn't been able to save him. The only reason she came back to Konoha was Minato, but she couldn't be the mother she wanted to be because of her enemies. If they had found out about Minato being her son, he would have been targeted. And during the war it was very difficult to protect a single child. Then Minato grew older and became a genius of a ninja. He shared his father's dream to become Hokage and he managed to realize this dream. She had been so proud the day he was inaugurated. He found love in the youngest Whirlpool princess who happened to be one hell of a kunoichi herself. And then he told her that she was going to be a grandmother. Minato and Kushina were so excited and couldn't wait for Naruto to be born. Why he decided to name his firstborn after a character in Jiraiya's novel she would never understand. At least her son hadn't taken over her perverted teammate's unhealthy hobby. And then came the day she lost everything. The day the goddamned Kyuubi attacked Konoha. Kushina went in labor. Minato was needed to find a way to defeat Kyuubi, and she tried everything to save Kushina's life as it became obvious that the Yuki of Kyuubi interfered with a normally unproblematic birth. They lost. Kushina gave birth to Naruto but died half an hour later in Minato's arms. He was devastated, and it wasn't over. He had found a way to stop Kyuubi, but he had to use a jutsu which would make his son a Jinchuriki. A burden nobody wished to put on any child, least his own, but it was the only way to save Konoha. Sarutobi had offered to do the sealing so Naruto could at least have one parent, but Minato had argued that he was the only one who had enough chakra to last through the sealing. If it had been any Biju up to 6 tails, Sarutobi would have been able to do it, but he was too old if it were one of the 3 strongest, and it just happened to be the strongest of all, the damned 9-tailed fox. Minato had taken Naruto with him, and all they saw was Gamabunta and a blinding white light, and then the demon vanished. They had waited for Naruto to be brought back, but instead a messenger of the council came to them, and told them that Naruto had died during the sealing. Heartbroken, she and Jiraiya left Konoha without saying goodbye to Sarutobi. He would understand. She couldn't stand staying in Konoha with everybody she loved dead. Shizen, Dan's niece, had accompanied her. It was for her she was still somewhat sane. She stopped her when she drank too much, or gambled much more than was reasonable. But she felt the emptiness inside herself. What reason was there for her to live? She put her money on the red 2 without thinking. It didn't matter. The bets were set and the croupier spanned the wheel. 2 red, he announced. Shizen shouted happily. You won, Tsunade, you won. Tsunade didn't believe her eyes. She never won anything. That was a bad sign. Or perhaps just coincidence. She had to be sure. If she won again she had to leave immediately. So she put her original setting and her winnings on the black 37. Shizen was afraid. Why had her master to risk the much needed money? The wheel span again. 37 black, the croupier announced. Shizen, take my winnings, we are leaving, Tsunade said. Something was going to happen, and due to her experiences it was never good when she won at gambling. When Tsunade and Shizen were just outside the town, a little slug appeared in front of them. Greetings, Lady Tsunade and Shizen. My mother Katsuya sent me to relay a message that has been given to us for you by the toads. Minato Namikaze has been resurrected by the death god and has asked Jiraiya to get you to return to Konoha because he needs your help. And I was told to tell you that your grandson would really like to get to know you. Tsunade sank to her knees. Me, Minato, is alive again? My little Minato lives? And what about my grandson? I was told he died. No, they are both alive and wait for you in Konoha. Tsunade shook with fury. She had been lied to. Her grandson was alive. He had been alive the whole time. These bastards of the council had lied to her. Where do I meet Jiraiya? She asked. He is on his way and should arrive here in a few hours. Thank you, Suki, that are great news. Tell your mother my thanks. Yes, Lady Tsunade. Suki poofed away. Tsunade? Shizen asked. These bastards lied to me. They put me through hell and let me believe my grandson died 3 years ago. They will suffer as I have suffered. Nobody messes with my family. They will feel the fury of the Senju clan. How much did I win, Shizen? A lot. Is it enough to repay all my debts? Yes, easily. Then please do this. When Jiraiya arrives, I want to head to Konoha immediately. Yes, Sensei, Shizen answered and headed back to town. 3 hours later, Jiraiya reached them. Nice to meet you again, Tsunade. Shizen, he greeted. Same to you, Jiraiya. Are you ready to kill those bastards of the council? Tsunade asked. Count me in. If they didn't lie to us, I would have taken care of Naruto. I am his damned godfather, I mean. Yes. And I think there is a reason they lied. They must plan something why they wanted us out of the village. Well, we will thwart their plans. One thing I know for sure, Minato won't stand for this. In the village, Minato used his free time to get to know Naruto. His son was an energy bundle. He couldn't sit still for long periods of time. He wanted to know about many things and Minato took his time to explain. Like a sponge, Naruto absorbed everything he was told. As Naruto had a strong liking for animals, Minato decided to take a walk in the forest. It was peaceful there and Naruto saw lots of different animals. Some squirrels jumped onto his head and he seemingly talked with them. What do they tell you? Minato asked, interested. They want nuts, Naruto answered. And they are hiding from eagles as they hunt them. Minato smiled. His son was a special child. And he would ensure his happy childhood as long as he could. The truth about being a ninja would come soon enough for him. Minato sensed two hidden people and got ready in case they tried to attack. But then two ANBUs with the sign for the root unit came down in front of him, and Naruto. Excuse the disturbance, Arashi-san, but Danzo-sama sent us to watch over you and your son. We would have stayed hidden but didn't want to make you think we were enemies. I see. I will thank Danzo for his thoughtfulness tonight. The two nodded and disappeared. Daddy, who are they? Naruto asked. ANBUs who make sure nobody tries to attack us, Minato explained. We don't need to go back, do we? Naruto asked. He wanted to stay in the forest with his father. Not now, later. Naruto smiled. He ran deeper into the forest and Minato followed. Minato looked at his watch. Well, I think my surprise for the shopping district will go off soon, he mumbled. In the central marketplace in Konoha, the booths were equipped and the villagers did their shopping. It was market day and a lot of farmers that lived outside the village had come to sell their goods. The streets and the place burst from people. Nobody thought that something was about to happen. Unnoticed by everybody, some seals around the place began to glow blue. They were placed so that nearly nobody would realize that something was wrong until it was too late. Then some explosions went off. The whole area was clouded in yellow mist. The people began to scream and tried to get rid of the mist. It took the Uchiha's on patrol 20 minutes to get rid of the mist. When it finally disappeared, everybody's hair was colored yellow. Bright yellow. And after another 15 minutes they saw a sign on the front of the main storage whose owner was part of the civilian council. A big yellow flash. Sarutobi was not happy at the moment. He got reports of the incident at the marketplace, and he knew just too well who was behind it. He was just glad Minato had just colored the hair of everybody to set a sign, but he wouldn't stop at this. This prank was just a warning to those who had wronged Naruto. Proof of this was the sign on the store of one of the members of the civilian council. It would get worse the next days. That was sure. He dreaded something to happen at the police station or the Uchiha compound. They were prime targets for Minato's revenge. That was until he found the proof he was looking for. Then he would go for harsher actions. But now he just gave him a big headache while dealing with all the complaints. Some had the nerve to try to blame everything on Naruto. As if a 3-year-old boy would be able to do such a prank. It was 7:30 and Minato tried to put Naruto in bed. But his son didn't want to sleep just now. He wanted to see whom his father wanted to meet. He had bathed, eaten and was now in his pajamas. And he ran across the living room trying to escape his father's catch. Come on, Naruto, it's time to go to bed, Minato said while chasing him. No, I'm not sleepy. I want to meet your guest. He dived under the table and crept over the floor. Minato missed him by an inch. Naruto, he cursed. This went on for another 20 minutes. Minato wondered how a 3-year-old boy could be this fast and tricky to catch. Finally Minato managed to grab Naruto. You're really difficult to catch, you know this? He said. Naruto squirmed in his arms. When he realized he had no chance to escape, he pouted. Not fair, he grumbled. Minato thought hard. If I allow you to meet my guest, will you then go to bed without struggling and sleep without complaints? He asked. Yes, Daddy, Naruto answered. Promise? I promise, Naruto nodded. Minato sat down with Naruto at the couch. Well, you know. If you train your evasion skills you will make one hell of a ninja later, Minato told Naruto. Really, Daddy? Naruto was elated at the praise. Yes, really. When can I start training? He asked. You are a bit too young to start just yet. Naruto pouted at this. Minato smiled. Naruto was just cute with this face. Point 8 The doorbell rang. Minato told Naruto to wait in the living room and went to get the door. Soon after he re-entered the room accompanied by Danzo. Naruto, this is Danzo Shimura, a very strong ninja of this village. Danzo, my son Naruto. Nice to meet you, Naruto-kun, Danzo said. It's nice to meet you too, Naruto said and looked curious at the man in front of him. What happened to your eye? Why do you hide it under the bandages? Naruto asked. Well, I was injured and can't see on this eye, Danzo answered. That's sad. Can't the doctors help you? They tried but the injury was too severe. That sucks, Naruto said. But you can still be a ninja? He then asked. Well, not on the field. At the moment I use my time to train children who want to be ninjas. That's so cool. I want to be a ninja too. Just like Daddy. That's nice to know, Naruto-kun, Danzo said. Naruto, I think it's time for you to go to bed. Now that you've met Danzo-san. Okay, Daddy. Bye, Danzo-san, Naruto said. I'll just tuck him in and then come back, Minato told Danzo, who nodded and sat down at the couch. 5 minutes later Minato returned and he and Danzo began to talk. I'm really surprised that you are alive again, Danzo began. Well, the reason is that the gods have poker evenings every 6 months. Shinigami-sama made a bet with an angel he wanted to date for a while. If he won, she would go on a date with him. If she won, he had to resurrect a soul of her choosing. That happened to be me. The angel that made this bet with Shinigami-sama was Naruto's guardian angel. I know, but every word is true. That's the only reason I can be with my little boy. and I will see that he can grow up happily. Are you sure your feelings for him won't clash with your goals for a stronger Konoha? Yes, as the reasons for his misery are the same as those who weakens the village. As you've heard, Naruto wants to be a ninja. What do you think would happen when he enters the academy in a few years, seeing his current treatment? Danzo pondered over this question. Well, he would have difficulties as he won't have a suitable training partner, as all the parents keep their children away from him. If the academy teachers won't be changed, it could happen that they would deny him a proper education. Yes, and without a proper education he would fall behind all the other children, and the level of the academy couldn't be that high as they need to take every child with the class. The pace of learning is set by the slow students. When one student is held on a low level on purpose, the rest will stay low as well. Therefore, the whole class will suffer and have fewer chances to survive the first year as genins if they pass the test of their jonin senseis, that is. That will be a problem as he as a Jinchuriki needs more training than any other child. If he won't be able to control his Biju's chakra, it could be dangerous for the village. Yes, but the seal is foolproof. Shinigami-sama himself powered it. That's not a problem for the next 10 years. Naruto will only be able to access the chakra in low doses when he is very angry or has another strong emotion, or when his life is in danger. The chakra of the fox will be converted into Naruto's own chakra the older he gets. At the age of 20 he will have absorbed all of Kyuubi's chakra and the fox's spirit will return to hell. That's an incredible seal. That takes care of every problem other Jinchurikis had in the past. Yes, I wanted to make sure that my son was safe even when I was forced to place this burden on his shoulders. Danzo's thoughts raced. If this was true, Naruto would be a splendid ninja. He had nearly never-ending chakra supplies at his hands, and with the proper training he would be able to use it properly. If anybody outside of Konoha finds this out, they will come to take him away or try to kill him to destroy the threat to their own forces, he analyzed. Yes, and that's the reason why I asked Sarutobi to keep his heritage a secret. I have too many enemies that would love to get revenge through my son. And that didn't even include Orochimaru and Madara Uchiha, who are still outside and plan to destroy Konoha. I see. I suppose Madara was behind the Kyuubi attack as he is one of the few who was able to control a Biju. Yes. Kyuubi was put under a very strong genjutsu. I wasn't able to break it. I tried, believe it. Does this mean Kyuubi would work together with Naruto? No, he is an evil demon. He loves to destroy things. Madara just turned him towards Konoha. The fox can't be trusted. I will tell Naruto about his burden when he is old enough to understand. Until then I will train him to be strong enough not to rely on the fox in dire situations. The fox could use that to try to weaken the seal and take over. The Yuki of Kyuubi is malevolent. It destroys everything in its path. The seal transforms it so Naruto isn't hurt by it. Danzo nodded. What other plans did you make for Konoha? He then asked. I want to reform the council. It takes too much time to make decisions. The council was made to ease the workload of the Hokage so he could spend more time with his main objective, the protection of the village. But now the Hokage's main objective is doing paperwork. That isn't the way things work. As I see it, most of the problems could be solved by the responsible side of the council. I will investigate what kind of things end up on the Hokage's desk and then sort out what is not the responsibility of the Hokage. The council is just an instrument to advise the Hokage not to rule the village and waste the Hokage's time. That's true. I always questioned the ways Sarutobi let them get through with their petty requests. They will see what they did. Sooner or later. For them I hope they didn't commit treason because I'm very tempted to use all the power the Hokage truly has against them. It is time that they see what a true Hokage is able to do. Danzo just nodded. Minato wouldn't make foul compromises. He wanted the issues of the village to be solved once and for all. What about the Hyuga incident? Well, we have the advantage that we only captured the kidnapper and that he wasn't killed. Kumo has no means to ask for reparation. We didn't act against the contract. The ambassador was treated with utmost politeness until he hurt the pact on his side. Inoichi and Ibiki are questioning him as of now. When we know his motives for the kidnapping attempt, we can make requests to Kumo. And I'm sure that the Raikage is behind everything. If he wants a war, he will get one. One that only lasts a few minutes. I will personally slaughter his soldiers if he thinks he can make demands of Konoha. They wronged us and not the other way around. I hope my reputation will suffice to make them think twice to go to war. I'm sure it will. They just tried because Sarutobi wants to keep the peace at nearly every price. Well, he had no choice, but I have. I don't have to send an army as I am one myself. If Kumo thinks they are ready to face the yellow flash, they are in for a surprise. And I will show them that I'm alive again. It was 7 o'clock in the morning and the guards at the main gate were bored. At this hour nobody would come or go. The missions wouldn't start before 8 and the returning ninjas normally didn't show up until 9. No normal ninja traveled through the night unless it was necessary for the mission. It's so boring to keep watch at this time of the day, one of the Chunin guards complained. You are right, Kai, but what can we do? Orders are orders, the other replied. I wish something would happen, the teenager called Kai said. I agree. It would be a really great thing if some prominent ninjas would come through. Yeah, imagine if somebody as famous as the Sannin would turn up. Then we had some story to tell. Unlikely they would come by. They left Konoha 3 years ago and haven't returned since then. At the horizon they suddenly saw movements. Well, it seems at least somebody is coming. It won't be the Sannin, but you can't get it all. You're right. 5 minutes later they wanted to eat their words. Identify yourselves, Kai said. Jiraiya of the Sannin returning to report in for the Hokage, the white-haired man said. Tsunade Senju of the Sannin returning to report in for the Hokage, the blonde woman said. Chunin Shizen Namikaze, apprentice to Tsunade Senju returning to report in for the Hokage, the teenage girl told them. She was holding a small pig that wore a chain of marbles around his neck. The two guards' jaws hit the ground. The two Sannin that were still loyal to Konoha and a girl from the Namikaze clan, that was believed to be extinct, were returning to Konoha. Welcome back. The Hokage will be happy that you have returned, Kai said. We will see how happy he is when we have talked, Jiraiya mumbled. Family reunion. Sarutobi had just arrived at his office. He had sent the callings for the meeting in 5 days as Minato wanted. He hoped that the blonde wouldn't kill everybody in the council, that would be such a mess. He could understand his fury, but he didn't think it would be right to kill them all. He really was too old for the job, and due to Minato's prank he still hadn't finished with all the complaints of the day before, even with the use of Kagebunshin no Jutsu. Well, it was early in the morning and nobody would bother him, so he could finish this and then go on with his daily work. Or so he thought. It knocked at the door. Yes? He shouted. His assistant entered the room. Hokage-sama, there are 3 ninjas that returned this morning and want to speak with you, she told him. Who are they? He asked, nipping at his cup of coffee. Well, Jiraiya, Tsunade Senju and Shizen Namikaze. Sarutobi spat out his coffee. What? He asked. The assistant just nodded. Send them in, please. Yes, Hokage-sama, she answered, and soon the 3 entered the office. Tsunade, Jiraiya, Shizen. What a pleasant surprise that you have returned. I don't think it will be this pleasant, Sensei, Tsunade said. What happened, Tsunade? Sarutobi asked. What happened, you ask? We were lied to by the damned council, that happened. I thought my son and my grandson both died in the Kyuubi attack. My heart broke and I couldn't stand staying in the village any longer. And yesterday one of the toads contacted my slug summoning to inform me that my grandson was alive the whole time. Don't you think that I have every reason to be pissed? She yelled. I can just verify what Tsunade said. I thought I lost everything that night. Sensei, I was supposed to be Naruto's godfather. I feel like I abandoned the boy all these years. Please tell me you were able to protect him from the council and that he hasn't been mistreated, Jiraiya added. Sarutobi looked ashamed to the ground. Sensei, what happened to you? You once were the god of the shinobi. How can some mere civilians order you around? Why did you never mention Naruto in one of your messages? Jiraiya shouted. I thought you both knew about him. I thought you left because with Minato's and Kushina's death you couldn't bear staying. Even if that was the case, I would have taken my grandson with me. I would never have abandoned him here. Not with these vultures. Where is he? I want to see him. He's with Minato at the Namikaze mansion. Then Minato really is alive again. That's wonderful, Shizen said. Yes, it is, Tsunade agreed. But this will not be the end of it. The council is in for torture of the worst kind. You can reserve the beds in the hospital for them. First to go there will be the old hags you call your teammates, Sensei. Then each member of the civilian side, and then I will look onto the behavior of the shinobi side. Nobody will be spared of my wrath. Sarutobi could see the fire in Tsunade's eyes. Nobody would be able to stop her, and he suspected Minato had intended just that when he called her back. Another question, Sensei, will Minato take back the seed from you? Jiraiya asked. Yes, he said that was the easiest way for him to protect Naruto. And it seems he has allied himself with Danzo. With Danzo? I would never have thought he would work together with him. He is always the first one to cry for war. Minato seems to believe that he and Danzo could find a compromise to strengthen Konoha, especially the future generations of ninjas. They have similar believing for the educational system. The civilian council has reduced the level that is taught at the academy as the children there are not ninjas and therefore under their liability. That's bullshit. These children are the future soldiers of Konoha. They have to be prepared for what can happen in the field. If they don't know what it means to be a ninja, they won't survive their first year. Does the council want them to die early? Jiraiya asked. Well, the Shinobi Council argued the same way, but they didn't bother. And my powers have been cut before I was re-established. That's bordering treason, Sensei. The Hokage is a military dictator, not a democratically elected leader. Therefore no civilian council has the superiority to tell him what he has to do, Tsunade mentioned. They were backed up by the daimyo. They somehow got his support. When I took back the mantle it was too late. All I could do was to limit the damage that was done. And what would that be? Jiraiya asked, dreading the answer. Well, I stopped them from killing Naruto as the civilian side and Fugaku wanted and stopped their influence over those who passed the graduation exam at the academy. But I wasn't able to get him adopted into the Sarutobi or the Hyuga clan. The council stopped it. So the only possibility was to put him in the orphanage. But as we found out recently, they didn't treat him well. Minato already executed the matron in charge with a Rasengan. This will stop. I will make sure Naruto will be treated with the respect he deserves, Tsunade said. And I will tell the daimyo what a mistake it was to let the civilians influence the powers of the Hokage. Sensei, we will be at Minato's mansion if you want to see us, Jiraiya said, and put his arm around Tsunade's shoulders to take her out of the office. Shizen followed the two Sannin. I really messed this up, Sarutobi mumbled. Minato sat at the kitchen table with Naruto and helped his son to learn the proper use of chopsticks. He soon found out that the orphanage didn't bother to teach Naruto anything and that he had to learn through try and error what worked and what not. But his manners were horrible due to this. Eat slowly, Naruto, you have time to eat. Nobody will steal your food, Minato told him softly. Naruto nodded and tried to take one bit at a time and not to wolf down everything. Was this the only way you got food at the orphanage? Minato asked, dreading the answer. Naruto looked sad. Yes. I was always the last when they let go to the buffet, and then the things I really wanted to eat were gone. If I wasn't fast enough, I got nothing at all because they took it away to the kitchen. That is over, Naruto. You will never have to fear this again. Naruto nodded, smiling. It was great to have a dad. Naruto tried to hold his chopsticks the way Minato showed him to do it. He took a piece of the fruits Minato had cut for him and got it to his mouth without dropping it, and eat it. Look, Daddy, I did it, he said happily. Yes, very good, Naruto. With training you will become perfect in no time at all, he encouraged him. The doorbell rang. Who could that be this early? Minato asked himself. He stood up and went to the door. He activated a seal which transmitted the picture of the persons that stood at the entrance with their chakra levels. When he had all the information, he couldn't stop grinning. They were faster than he would have thought. He opened the gate through a chakra signal to the seal and let them in. He then opened the door and waited for them. Not a minute later they stood in front of him. Minato, you really are alive again, Tsunade whispered with tears in her eyes. Yes, I am, he said, smiling. Then Tsunade flew in his arms and cried out of happiness. It's really good to see you again, kid, Jiraiya said. Thank you, sensei, Nisan Shizen said. Hey, Shizen-chan. It's really good to see you all again. I never thought you would be this fast. But I'm happy. Come in, don't let us stay in the grounds. They nodded and Tsunade whipped her tears away. How is this possible, Minato? She asked. Shinigami-sama lost a bet with an angel at poker and had to resurrect me to fulfill his end of the bargain. The angel was Naruto's guardian angel and couldn't stand to see how he was treated here. Naruto, my little grandson, where is he? He is in the kitchen and tries to learn how to use chopsticks properly. He was never taught anything at the orphanage. Can you believe that his abilities to speak are only this good because Danzo sent one of his retired root agents to talk with him? What? They neglected him this much? Jiraiya fumed. Yes, I don't know if you already met with Sarutobi, but I executed the matron yesterday. Yes, we heard it. Best thing you could do, I think. You will have a lot of work when you retake the hat, Jiraiya said. I know, and I have plans. Plans that will put the council in its place. They reached the kitchen. Naruto, we have visitors, Minato told him. Naruto dropped his piece of fruit out of surprise and directly had a look of horror on his face. That was not purposely, I swear. Minato feared that this also was a result of the treatment in the orphanage. Hey, I know this, Naruto. You don't need to fear I would punish you for something like this. I would only punish you if you did something really bad. But not for dropping a piece of fruit to the floor. You can take it up and put it in the trash, then we clean it with a wet paper and that's it. Really, Daddy? Yes, really. Naruto smiled shyly. Tsunade wanted to massacre the whole staff of the orphanage. How could they make a small child believe that he would be punished for something like this? She dreaded the rest of his treatment but knew better than to ask. Naruto looked at the three visitors. Who are they, Daddy? He asked curiously. Minato smiled. Naruto, these are the people I told you about 2 days ago. The blonde woman is my mother Tsunade, your grandmother. The black-haired woman is my cousin Shizen Namikaze, and the white-haired man is Jiraiya, my sensei, and he is also your godfather. They are my family? Naruto asked, shaking a little. Yes, they are. Minato smiled at him to ensure him. Naruto walked slowly to the three. Hello, Naruto, Tsunade said kindly. You really have grown since the last time I saw you. You were a tiny baby then. Granny? He asked. She nodded. He then smiled and hugged her. Tsunade was teary-eyed and hugged him back. He didn't ask why she had never been there, he was just happy that she was there now. The other three smiled at the scene. Shizen knew Tsunade has been worried that Naruto wouldn't accept her and be mad that she hadn't been with him, but it seemed he was a very kind boy who looked at the good things and not the bad ones. Will you play with me, Granny? He asked. Of course, Naruto-chan, Tsunade answered. But first you have to finish your breakfast. Okay, Naruto tried to climb onto his chair but he needed Minato's help. Then he restarted to eat. Shizen-chan, would you please stay with Naruto? I want to talk to Mom and Sensei for a while. Of course, and I sent Shizen answered. Minato led Tsunade and Jiraiya to the living room. Why have you two never been with him? Minato asked promptly. The damned council sent a messenger the night you went out to seal the damned fox. We knew you would sacrifice your life, but the messenger told us that Naruto didn't survive the sealing and died as well. After this we couldn't stand staying in Konoha any longer, and left the same night without saying goodbye. I sent regular reports of my spy network to Sensei but I never returned. I thought I lost everything that night, Jiraiya explained. Tsunade nodded. It was as if history repeated itself. It was the same horrible feeling when I lost my little brother or when I wasn't able to save your father Dan. But this time I had nothing left. When your father died, I had you and you were the anchor I could hold on to. But with you and Naruto gone, I had nothing left in Konoha. I understand. One more crime they will pay for. Minato clenched his fists. The council won't survive this, he swore. Nobody had the right to mess like this with his family. What do you plan, Minato? Jiraiya asked. In 5 days is the meeting where I will announce my return. Danzo is helping me with the laws I have to pass immediately to regain the full power of the Hokage without the council meddling in these affairs. We have agreed to reform the educational system. He has some really interesting ideas. I have sent some toads to spy on the members of the council. I expect results in some days. When I have proof of their treason, I will let them be taken to the ANBUTNI unit to gather whatever information they have. I know for sure Inoichi and Ibiki will find everything they hide. The Hyuga clan is already under investigation due to an attempted kidnapping of Hayashi's daughter Hinata. I coincidentally could stop the kidnapper, and it turned out to be the ambassador Kumo sent for the signing of the peace contract. He is in for interrogation right now, but he would never been able to infiltrate the Hyuga compound without inside help. That Hayashi is analyzing, that's a grave thing to happen. It could lead to a new war with Kumo, only if they are stupid. I will send requests for reparation for the violation of the peace contract to Kumo with one of my 3-pronged kunai, as a warning. If they really believe they can beat me in the field, let them think it. Kumo will be short of ninjas for a long time if they try it. I have enough of my Hiraishin kunai to take down another army. You really are furious, Jiraiya stated. Of course I am. You saw it yourself in the kitchen. Because of the idiocy of the council, Naruto never had a family. Sarutobi and Hizashi tried to adopt him, but the civilian side with the help of Fugaku Uchiha and Koharu and Hamura blocked this. He was sent to the orphanage where the matrons systematically tore his soul apart. He is malnourished because they never let him eat properly. He was isolated from the other children. When possible foster parents came to the orphanage, he was imprisoned in the cellar with rats. How could I not be furious? Naruto told me the only times they were nice to him were when Sarutobi visited, but they threatened him that he would be punished if he told Sarutobi anything about his usual treatment. I just find out more and more about it. It will take a lot of time for his emotional wounds to heal. The only good thing I can see is that it didn't last longer, and he wasn't physically abused. Oh my God! I never would have thought it possible for something like this to happen in Konoha, Tsunade said, crying. Me too, Mom. If I had known, I would have made sure that nobody knew about the ceiling. I thought Konoha's villagers would be less stupid and could see the boy, not the demon. We will help you, Minato. Nobody will dare to hurt Naruto when we announce who he really is. I think this will be the only way to stop how the villagers see him. Their respect for you is too big to let them harm your son. They can put their respect to the trash. If they really respected me, they would have honored my last wish and have seen Naruto as the hero he is. Nobody said anything because they knew he was right. Daddy, Granny, I'm ready, Naruto shouted. They silently decided to talk later. Great, Naruto, what do you want to do today? Tsunade asked. Naruto thought hard. The adults thought he looked cute when he scrunched his face in concentration. Well, it was really cold the last weeks and I thought, well, I know the other children were taken to a lake to ice skate there. Perhaps we could go there? He asked hopefully. Of course we can do this, Naruto, Tsunade answered. Naruto's face lightened up. Thank you, Granny, thank you. I always wanted to go there. The stories the others told when they returned sounded great. It gave Minato a pinch in his heart to hear about this, but all he could do was to change the things for the future. Well, we could pack a picnic to take with us. What would you like to eat at the lake? Tsunade asked. I don't know, Naruto answered. Then we just have to take various things so you could try them all, she decided. Naruto nodded. Can we ask Hinata-chan if she wants to come too? He asked. Who is Hinata-chan? Shizen asked. My new friend, Naruto told them happy. Well, I don't think Hayashi would be against it. Perhaps we could also take Niji with us. He is only a year older than Hinata and Naruto. And Hizashi also knows about me, Minato suggested. The others nodded. Naruto jumped around. That would be a great day if they could go to the lake. A memorable council meeting. 5 days flew by and Minato had prepared everything he needed to raise hell upon the council. And to pass the time, he pulled 3 more pranks on villagers and members of the civilian council. His toads got a lot of time to search the homes of the council members. The Sandaime had cursed Minato's ideas to prank them. It had taken hours to get rid of the orange slime he had dropped over the Uchiha compound. How he managed to do that they still hadn't figured out. Fugaku was fuming that the yellow prankster, that was how the villagers called the unknown culprit, dared to humiliate the powerful Uchiha clan. The meeting was scheduled for 10 o'clock and Jiraiya and Tsunade would accompany him. Shizen would babysit Naruto, Niji and Hinata at the Namake's mansion. Hayashi had agreed to bring Hinata and Niji over for playtime. Niji and Naruto had gotten along very well at the lake and were good friends now. He was glad that his daughter and his nephew had a new friend because in the Hyuga clan were no children their age. The next younger child was already 10 years old. They could play in the gardens and woods behind the mansion as the estate was nearly as big as the Hyuga compound but had fewer buildings and more open land. A great wall secured everything and there was no doubt that Minato's seals were foolproof. Minato was clothed in his old Hokage attire with the Namake's crest on his right shoulder. Tsunade wore her normal clothes but had attached the Senju crest on the front of her jacket. Jiraiya didn't wear a clan crest because he came from a civilian family. Sarutobi wore the official Hokage robes. Well, it's time, Sarutobi said. Yes. I will use an illusion barrier to conceal my presence, Minato told them. They nodded. He wanted to make a big entrance. The four made their way to the council chambers where the other members were already waiting together. Good morning, everybody, said Sarutobi. They looked at him and were surprised to see the two loyal Sannin accompany him. Well, I have a lot of things I want to discuss with the council, but first let us greet my students Jiraiya and Tsunade who have returned to Konoha. A few greetings were changed. Tsunade took the council seat for the Senju clan. Jiraiya sat at a seat at the civilian side. It had been decided to give the Sannin a council seat as his advice was usually invaluable for Konoha. But most of the time he traveled around the countries to gather information. Sarutobi asked for the council to be quiet. As you all know, I don't get younger, and therefore I made Minato Namikaze my successor 4 years ago. Tragically, he sacrificed his life to defeat the Kyuubi no Kitsune. But I feel that I am way too old to be Hokage, and so I decided that it was time for a younger man to take the mantle. A week ago something happened that can't be described otherwise than a great strike of luck for Konoha. A hero returned to our village, and I decided to make him Hokage. I want to introduce my successor. Please show yourself. Next to Sarutobi, Minato dropped the illusion barrier, and could be seen by everybody. His face was strict. Yandame-sama, many said. The shinobi side tried to break the genjutsu they thought the man used. Many shouts of Kai were heard. I am no illusion or imposter, as you may think, Minato said. I think you were told that I used a sealing jutsu powered by Shinigami-sama himself to manage the sealing of Kyuubi no Kitsune into a newborn boy. This jutsu came at a price, and I sacrificed my soul to Shinigami-sama to save Konoha from the wrath of the demon. But when I returned to Konoha a week ago, how this was possible I will tell you later. I had to realize that it possibly had been better if I just had let the demon destroy the village. Minato's voice was icy. Outraged screams were his answer. Silence, Minato bellowed. I only made one request when I went to seal the demon. That you assholes treated the baby boy I had to place this terrible burden upon as the hero he is for imprisoning the demon. Thanks to him, Kyuubi will never again see the daylight. He will rot in his prison, and he gets weaker and weaker with every day Naruto gets older. But the first thing I had to do was rescuing him from a mob of villagers who chased him through the streets. And nobody bothered to help him. I passed 2 patrols of the Konoha military police Fugaku. Care to explain why they didn't help him? He looked murderous at the head of the Uchiha clan. Well, they didn't recognize that somebody needed help. Then they are not suited to uphold the safety of the village. I heard Naruto's screams from the main gate. They were much nearer. By the way, the dead villagers are my responsibility. Who wants to kill children has no right to live. I killed them in seconds. Fugaku was stunned. He had wanted to blame the demon child with the dead villagers, but that plan was now thwarted. There is more. Minato looked intently at the elders Hamura and Koharu and the civilian side of the council. I know that you all demanded for Naruto to be executed. Tell me one reason why I shouldn't execute you instead. He is possessed by the demon. We have to kill him before he can kill us. Koharu stated coldly. A civilian counselor seconded that. You doubt my abilities as a seal master? Minato asked threateningly. No, Yandame-sama, the same man tried to defend himself. I personally did the sealing, and Shinigami-sama himself lent me his powers. How on earth should the demon be able to escape his prison? When he entered the boy's body, he took him over, therefore he is the demon now, a pink-haired woman stated. Nonsense. He is a normal child. Hayashi, you used your Byakugan to look at Naruto. Does he have demonic chakra? Minato asked. No, Yandame-sama. His chakra, while at a really high level for a child his age, is perfectly normal. There are no traces of Yuki in his chakra coils. Thank you, Hayashi. There, you heard it. The head of the Hyuga clan, the only clan in the village that is able to see chakra in the body of humans, has proven that Naruto is no demon. He is dangerous. If he ever loses control, he will attack us and our children, the pink-haired woman screeched. Counselor Harino, I will throw you out if don't stop screeching like a banshee. This is a council and not a pub, Minato threatened. She was silent for a moment. Also, I found out that before Sandaime-sama was reinstated as Hokage, you used the time to cut the powers of the Hokage and increase your own powers. This is a ninja village. The Hokage is the military dictator, and your job is to advise him, not do the job yourself. Danzo-sama, would you please show the documents your spies found? Minato asked politely. They had agreed to let the council think it had been Danzo and his spies who found evidence. Of course, Yandame-sama, he answered. My spies found out that every member of the civilian council, the elders Hamura and Koharu and Fugaku Uchiha, used the short period between your untimely death and the reinstatement of Sandaime-sama to make the following laws. The members of the civilian council were granted a pay rise of 15%. The civilian council got control over the curriculum at the Ninja Academy, the processes of adoption of orphan children, the curriculum of the civilian schools, the taxes for imports of other nations, and the export of whatever good Konoha had. The military police under the command of the Uchiha clan got free reign over the security of the village and had to report to the Hokage only if the commander of the military police deemed it necessary. Ladies and gentlemen, This is bordering treason. Only the Hokage has the right to instate this kind of laws. Even in a period where no Hokage is elected, the council's only power is to manage the running business by the existing laws. This was made law by Hashirama Senju, the first Hokage. We had the approval of the Fire Daimyo. Hamiura protested. Ah yes, the Fire Daimyo. I think he wants to tell you something himself. I asked Hayashi to invite His Highness to our little meeting, and he has listened to every word that was spoken. What? Some councilors yelled. Yes. I installed a seal under the desks that enables the counterpart of said seal to replay every word. Kind of like a walkie-talkie but less easy to track down, he grinned evilly. When the daimyo had learned what exactly was the content of the laws he had signed to guarantee the continued functionality of the country's hidden village without really checking it because there were so many problems to be solved after the attack, he had been mad and agreed to come to Konoha personally to put the scheming council in its place. He is very displeased with the ways things have been run in Konoha, especially as you have treated the heir of two powerful clans of this village like scum. On top, you could have brought a war to Konoha if the rulers of Whirlpool Country had found out how you treated Naruto, he said, furious. Why would they bother with the Jinchuriki? Koharu asked arrogantly. Do you know the surname of the king and queen of Whirlpool, Koharu Baka? Minato asked. How dare you call me a Baka? I demand respect, she yelled. I call you what you deserve to be called. I could call you worse things and you would deserve them all. The surname of the king and queen of Whirlpool is Uzumaki. That got everybody silent. Sharp gasps were the only sounds in the room. You heard right. Naruto is a prince of Whirlpool Country. A country that is under the protection of Fire Country since the marriage of their princess with the shinobi of Konoha. Naruto is their son. Minato wanted them to sweat before he dropped the rest of the news. He saw that Shikaku, Hayashi and Jiraiya enjoyed the show. But how could we not know that we had a princess living in Konoha? Hamiura asked, outraged. To ensure her safety. And she didn't want to be treated like nobility. She wanted to be a kunoichi. And she was a damned good kunoichi. Perhaps you remember Kushina Uzumaki, or as she was known at the field, the Red Water Devil. Sarutobi said. But who was her husband? A man asked. My son Tsunade said. Everyone looked at her. You have a son, Tsunade-sama? Some asked. Yes, I kept my son's existence a secret because if my enemies had found out about him, he would be targeted to get me. We were fighting in the Second Shinobi War when he was born. My fiancé Dan and I decided it would be safer that he got his surname to trick my enemies. Tragically, Dan died in battle and I wasn't able to save him, his parents, and I decided that my boy would be safer if he grew up with them as I continually was on the battlefield. I visited him as often as I could manage. Who was he? Choza asked. That would be me, Minato stated. Nobody wanted to believe it. I am the son of Tsunade Senju and Dan Namikaze. And if somebody hasn't added 2 and 2 successfully, Naruto Uzumaki's true name is Naruto Namikaze Senju Uzumaki, and he is my son, he thundered. The civilians were now sweating bullets. Tsunade wanted more. She wanted them to suffer. You not only disregarded my dying wish, you treated my son like trash. You tried to kill him. You denied him a family. I know that you sent a messenger to my mother and my sensei Jiraiya after I died sealing the fox, and told them that Naruto had died during the sealing. You wanted them outside the village so you could leave from the shadows. You feared their influence. He glared at Koharu and Hamiura especially. Naruto told me how he was treated at the orphanage. They isolated him from the other children, he didn't get enough to eat, he is malnourished, and he was imprisoned in the cellar with rats when possible foster parents came to look for a child to adopt. He was punished for little mishaps like dropping food on the floor, and I found orders of this council which ordered the caretakers at the orphanage to neglect him. What? Inoichi yelled. I never signed such an order. I won't deny I was wary of Naruto and checked his mental health every 6 months to make sure the demon couldn't escape or take him over, but I would never sign an order to mistreat a child. Minato simply nodded. He wouldn't hold this against Inoichi. It was reasonable that he wanted to make sure there was no danger from Kyubi. The same is true for me. It is the greatest shame to mistreat a pup for an Inuzuka, some agreed. Shibi Abirame, Choza Akimichi, Hayashi Hyuga, Shikaku Nara, Asuma Sarutobi and the Sandame looked murderously at the civilian council. I heard enough. NBU take them to Ibiki for interrogation for the suspicion of treason, Minato ordered. They all protested, but it was futile. Swiftly each counselor was taken by 2 NBU and vanished at the spot. You could have let me have some more fun with them, Minato. They didn't suffer enough. I wanted to break some bones for what they did to my grandson, Tsunade said, disappointed. I'm sure Inoichi and Ibiki will let you help with the questioning, Mom. You will come at your costs. Inoichi just nodded. There was no way in hell he would make Tsunade mad. So, after this is taken care of, is anybody against Minato's reinstatement as Yondaime Hokage? Sarutobi asked. Nobody disagreed. Well, welcome back, Yondaime-sama, he said. Thank you, Sandaime-sama. I have prepared some changes of law beforehand. First, all the changes of law installed during the period between my death and Sandaime-sama's reinstatement are void. Every occurrence that is related to shinobi is only subject of the Shinobi Council. The council, the civilian part as the shinobi part, is just an advisor to the Hokage. They have no competence to make decisions except in times when the Hokage is not available and time is of importance. I made a plan how to teach new students at the Ninja Academy. I got Danzo-sama to share his experience with me, and we agreed on a new curriculum. I would like to present it to you. Danzo took another stack of papers and gave it around to the other counselors. They opened the papers. As you can see, I put the current curriculum and the new curriculum next to each other to compare them. To understand the changes, I want to explain the picture I would like our future shinobi to give to the world. The will of fire is what makes Konoha unique between all the other countries. We are not soulless killer machines, but we know when we have to suppress our emotions to get a mission done successfully. When we are not on the field, we show emotions like compassion and caring. We value teamwork above all other things, and that is what makes us strong. Our picture of shinobi will be unstoppable on the field, but humans in daily life. Our shinobi won't show weakness when they are in battle, but they will be as normal as possible for a shinobi in private. Minato turned the paper to the next page. The academy will start at 6 years of age and will educate the children until they are 12. There will be no exceptions for prodigies. I'm against making children soldiers too early. They can use the time to be better prepared for what will be waiting for them outside the village. They will be able to take special classes. I looked into the graduation results, and luckily we didn't have a decrease of the quality of the new genin until now. But if we don't stop the low teaching level at the academy, we will have weaker genin in the future, and only the children of the ninja clans might have a chance to pass the exams of the jonin senseis. We can't afford this. The first 2 years all the students will stay in their respective classes. After this period we will look how far they have come with their studies and training. He looked around to see if everybody was following him. Every 6 months we will evaluate the level the students are at, and then the classes will be mixed based on the current level. The students at the bottom will get extra classes to learn the basics properly. Those in the middle will be introduced to more advanced lessons, and the top students will have the possibilities to learn special areas. The focus of the training will be on physical education, stealth, strategy, and chakra exercises. Every student at the end of the 6th year will be able to walk on water and climb trees. Walking on water is low chunin level, Shikaka stated. It will be our new genin level. I think it is responsible if we give our genins the tools they need to survive, Minato replied. Everybody nodded. It sounded good and reasonable. Each student will be able to climb up with his or her own improvements. Nobody will be labeled for his whole educational career because of their standing at the beginning of the 3rd year. The teachers will be trained to measure the chakra level of each student to find suitable jutsus to learn. I can tell you just now that my son will never be able to produce a normal bunshin without chakra control on the level of my mother. He just has too much of it, and with each day it grows due to the transformed chakra of Kyubi. I know that Itachi Uchiha also had his problems because of his high level. He now uses Kage Bunshin and has the problem solved. We have to be flexible with each student, and can't use only one way of thoughts. Those students who have a very good control over their chakra will be invited to attend a special training program for medic neens, which my mother will start. We need more good medic neens to keep losses in the field as low as possible. In this regard, the students will start with chakra control exercises after 8 weeks in the academy, so they are prepared when they will be able to choose the medical classes in their 3rd year. With each ninja we can save the money that has been put into the education. Then we will have extra classes for weapon training. At the moment students only learn the use of shuriken and kunai. I want them to learn a specialized weapon if they show interest in this area. Then there will be classes for infiltration. It is very important for a ninja to know how he can infiltrate an enemy camp without being caught. Next subject will be specialized traps. Each student has to attend this class for a minimum of 1 year. Basic traps are obligated for all students. It is up to the student when they take the classes. This is also a new part of the educational system. The students can choose parts of their schedule themselves. They get a list with the subjects needed to graduate at the end of the 6 years when they start their 3rd year. There will be classes of each needed subject every year, so each student has the possibility to get his classes. But won't this take a lot of manpower? Shikaka asked. We barely have enough ninjas to take the missions that get in. Well, we found a solution for this problem. The new teachers will be retired shinobi. It isn't important if a shinobi is injured and can't fight anymore to be a good teacher. The retired shinobi have something invaluable, and that is experience. They know what is needed on the field and they can teach it to the students. They can tell them of their own missions, and so the students get a feeling what is awaiting them outside of the academy. I also found a way to lower the amount of missions our ninjas have to fulfill. The 5th and 6th year students will take the D-rank missions in groups of 3. This way our genin can take the low-level C-rank missions. The students will learn about teamwork at the academy, and the teachers will have it easier to build the teams based on the experiences of these missions. Then there will be mock mission scenarios of a higher level. For example, a survival exercise. You all know that we send the Chunin aspirants in a survival exercise for the 2nd part. Well, we will imitate them on a smaller base for the academy students. Or a mission where the objective is to secure a scroll with important information. The possibilities are nearly unlimited. Everybody saw the merits of this kind of training at the academy. As I see it, the current curriculum leans too much towards the book knowledge. While some parts of theory are necessary, others are not. And we don't need bookworms in the field. The only ones who have to have extreme book smarts will be the medic neens, but this will be taught in their specific classes. While every student has to attain classes on anatomy, they will have a more practical outline. Then there will be specific classes for the kunoichis. There are some things the girls have to be aware of, one being the dangers female ninjas have to face from enemies like rape. They need to know how they can protect themselves. And therefore we won't tolerate girls who just fawn over one of the male students. We won't send fangirls into the field. They will be weeded out or put to supportive jobs in the village. We want high-quality ninjas, not cannon fodder, he stated firmly. A lot of the clan heads nodded. They knew of this problem. Next thing is that every student will be treated the same. It doesn't matter if the child is from a powerful clan or a civilian family with no shinobi tradition. Best example for a powerful shinobi who didn't have a shinobi background is Sensei Jiraiya. He worked his way up to the top without any special bloodline. A lot of the present ninjas were surprised. That was a new thing. But it was kind of true. Konoha was proud that it valued every shinobi the same. Even if the ninjas from the clans were greatly respected. That should start with the academy students. Next thing is, all the classes for an alternative career than shinobi will be cancelled. If a child wants to learn them, they can attend the civilian schools. Nobody will be forced to take the path of the shinobi. But the students will need every hour of practice they can get. For the children that come from a clan, there will be 1 hour less at the academy to train in their respective clan techniques 2 days a week. This is a compromise as the schedule will be upped by a few hours. Academy starts at 8 in the morning, lunch break is at 1 and will last till 2, and then the afternoon classes will be until 5. That's 2 more hours than now. Are you sure the children will be able to handle this? Choza asked, concerned. Yes. Think about the amount they are confronted with by their jonin senseis. This way it won't be as much of a shock. And I have very good reasons for this. What will happen if Orochimaru or Madara Uchiha decides that it is time for their revenge against Konoha? They won't hesitate to kill every single person who lives here. Madara Uchiha? He must be dead for a long time, Inoichi doubted. He is alive and was behind the Kyuubi attack, Minato told them. They were shocked. I don't know what he plans, but I fear he will be after my son one day, as he has the Kyuubi sealed inside of him. And I intend to prepare Naruto for what is going to happen in the future. I understand. Right now our enemies are weak, but given time they will become a threat again, Shikaka summed it up. Minato just nodded. I think we can agree with your plan concerning the Ninja Academy, he said. Even if this is just troublesome. Everybody grinned at this statement. This was just typical for Shikaku. Next topic is our government. The processes are way too complicated and too much unnecessary paperwork floods the Hokage's desk. This will have to stop. The simple processes will be handled by genin which have dropped out of the ninja program. As we stop the civilian classes at the academy, we will put up a new kind of career. The office ninja. They will handle the incoming requests and sort them into 2 kinds. Those who are minor tasks that can be handled by a normal office ninja and those who require the Hokage's attention. This way the workload will be significantly smaller. I don't intend to spend all day in the tower. I want to spend time with my son and I have to keep myself in top shape if we are attacked. That was reasonable. And the idea to capitalize the educated academy graduates that were not fit to survive in the field but wanted to stay ninjas for office work had its merits. We will have an extra class for those who don't pass the test of the Jonin Sensei after they are sent back to the academy. If they are fit to work at the tower after this time, they will do that. If not, they will drop out of the program completely and become civilians, Minato explained. They nodded their approval. I will start an investigation at all our departments. I want to weed out corruption from the start. Then every ninja has to take a complete medical checkup so we can see the level of our forces at the moment. Those who have slacked in their training will have to get back to their top form unless they want to be demoted to the rank their abilities are currently. That got a few odd looks. You don't think I would let my subordinates slack in their training? He asked as if daring them to counter his thoughts. There will be exceptions, for example the teachers at the academy, as those will mostly be veterans. But everybody who has attained the rank of Chunin or higher will have to prove his ranking. I won't demote Chunin to Genin without a very good reason. I would ridicule the Chunin exams if I did, but I will see if they are at low Chunin, mid Chunin, or high Chunin level, and missions will be given accordingly. A high-level Chunin will get better missions than a low-level Chunin. And a low Chunin that is way too weak will be set on probation for his rank. If he or she can prove the strength they should have after a period of 3 months after the first verdict, there won't be consequences. If not, let's just say I will be very displeased and take the appropriate measures. Everybody now completely realized that this Hokage wouldn't be a pushover. He would reign with a strong hand and he knew what he wanted to achieve. A very strong but still humanly Konoha. Reinstatement of the Yondaime. It was 2 days after the memorable meeting in the council chambers that the Sandaime Hokage called everybody who lived in Konoha to assemble at the bottom of the Hokage Tower. The villagers were curious why the Hokage called for the whole village to assemble. At the roof stood the 2 Hokages, the Fire Daimyo, Jiraiya and Tsunade, the 2 Sannin, and in the back Shizen with Naruto in her arms. I guess it's time, the Sandaime said. Everybody nodded and Naruto looked curious. Sarutobi walked to the edge of the roof. Villagers of Konoha. This day is a reason to celebrate. 3 years ago our hero the Yondaime Hokage was able to defeat the demon fox Kyubi no Kitsune. We all mourned for our fallen friends and heroes. But through a strike of good luck one hero was sent back to help us to protect Konoha in the future. As you all know, I wanted to retire 4 years ago when Minato Namikaze took over the mantle as the Yondaime Hokage. Now I want to announce that I can finally do this, as Shinigami-sama sent him back to us. As of now, he will lead Konoha again. I want to present to you the Yondaime Hokage Minato Namikaze Senju Uzumaki. Minato walked next to Sarutobi and lowered the Hokage hat he wore on his head. When he was visible, everybody began to cheer. Their hero was back. When the first joy ceased, some began to murmur. Why did the Sandaime call the Yondaime with 2 extra surnames? And from where did they know the name Uzumaki? Villagers of Konoha, Minato began. As you all can see, I have been resurrected by Shinigami-sama himself. I returned to help Konoha reach a glorious future. Cheers erupted. Now with the strongest Hokage ever back, there would be nothing they had to fear. And probably he would end the existence of the demon brat. But the real reason I was sent back was to right a crime nearly everybody here committed. That got the crowd silent. I only had one wish when I died. For you to see the boy I placed the horrible burden of being the prison of Kyubi upon as a hero. But you denied my wish. You demanded his execution. I know everything, and I doubted my decision to sacrifice not only my own life but also the life of my only son for the survival of Konoha. The crowd was terrified. His only son? The Yondaime had a son? Some of the more intelligent villagers seemed to connect the hints and look horror-struck. Had the Yondaime really used his own child for the sealing? It seems that some of you have realized it. This is my son, Naruto Namikaze Senju Uzumaki. And if anybody of you dares to hurt him again for something he never had any control over, be sure I will see consequences. He saves you every day just because he lives. Because of him, Kyubi can't destroy anything anymore and will cease to exist when Naruto turns 20. Minato had decided it was necessary to tell Naruto that he was a Jinchuriki and saved Konoha every day with his sacrifice. Even if he was just 3 years old. He had taken his time to explain everything with easy words to his son and to destroy his fears. He explained the sealing and that the power for the seal came from the god of death himself, and that he wanted Naruto to be seen as the hero he was, and that he would make sure that the villagers will see this. And there is more. Tsunade now interrupted. As you may have noticed, Naruto also wears the Senju name. The reason is that Minato is my son and Naruto is my grandson. Naruto is the heir to the Senju clan, the clan that produced 3 of our 4 Hokages. If you think the beatings Jiraiya gets when he does something perverted are severe, you will have to find a new definition for the word if anybody hurts my grandson for saving this village, he thundered. Many people in the crowd shrunk fearfully. The strength of Tsunade was legendary, and also her beatings of Jiraiya. The next person to walk forward nobody had expected to be there, and least to speak last. I am very displeased with the behavior of Konoha towards their heroes. It wasn't much Minato asked for when he gave his life to seal Kyubi away. But you spat at his memory and shunned his son. More your idiocy could have provoked a war with Whirlpool Country. He let the word sunk in. Perhaps some of you remember that during the Third Shinobi War, Whirlpool was attacked by the forces of IWA. We were able to help Whirlpool to survive, but they had to take great losses. To send a clear warning to IWA that if they tried to attack Whirlpool again, Fire Country and Konoha would retaliate, we made an alliance with the royal family. The youngest princess of Whirlpool, who also was a strong kunoichi, Kushina Uzumaki, was sent to marry one of our strongest shinobi. Who she would marry was her choice. When she arrived, she and Minato Namikaze Senju fell in love, and Kushina decided that he would be the one she wanted to marry. As Minato was the great-grandson of the first Hokage and practically royalty of Konoha, there was nothing to hinder this union. If Whirlpool found out that you wanted to execute the grandson of the current king and queen, they would call for blood, and I wouldn't deny it to them. How stupid can you be? Now even the dumbest realized what could have happened. Many of them had the feeling they wanted to throw up. Even if Whirlpool was a small country, Konoha was nowhere near ready to fight another war after the losses of the Kyubi attack. Why did nobody tell us the heritage of the boy? We didn't know the consequences, someone shouted. Silence, Minato thundered. It doesn't matter that Naruto is practically royalty. You mistreated a child that did nothing wrong. You doubted my abilities as a seal master, and just believed what the gossip told you. You ignored the law of the Sandaime that nobody was to speak of Naruto's burden to protect him. I cancelled this law as I think that your children will probably understand better than you that a prison isn't the prisoner. If I managed to catch Orochimaru and threw him in a cell that sucked his chakra so he was defenseless, would the cell turn into Orochimaru? Minato shouted. Now a lot of people found themselves stupid. Of course the cell would not be Orochimaru. With this, Minato turned back and walked away from the edge, the others following him. I think they got the message, Minato Jiraiya said. I hope it for them. I won't show mercy for anybody who will hurt Naruto, he said. The next few days were interesting. The members of the civilian council were found guilty of treason except for one man who didn't know what he signed. He was just removed from his post as a counselor, as he was not fit to bear this responsibility. Inoichi and Ibiki found out something Sarutobi never had thought would be possible for citizens of Konoha to think of. Hamura and Koharu were involved in the attempted kidnapping of Hinata Hyuga. Kumo had offered them money and political support if they managed to let their ninja escape of Konoha with the girls so that Kumo could start their own powerful clan of Byakugan users. Hayashi demanded their execution for this. Minato granted the request. Fugaku Uchiha planned a coup d'état to take control over Konoha in a few years. He thought it was the birthright of the Uchiha clan to rule Konoha. He thought the Uchihas were superior to everybody and that everybody had to bow to them. His execution with those of the main culprits in the conspiracy was scheduled for the same day as those of Koharu and Hamura. The civilian counselors, after having the pleasure of meeting Tsunade in the interrogation chambers, were stripped of their posts and thrown into jail for a period of 25 years. That was after they were able to leave the hospital. For some that meant a few months, as Tsunade refused to heal them and forbid all the other medics to give them more than basic treatment of their injuries. Their property was taken from them and added to the village vaults, but a part was given to Naruto to make up for the things done to him. Nobody dared to question the decisions of the Hokage. The executions were done in public to remember everybody what happened to those who committed treason to the leaf. Minato made no compromises with his new rule. Kumo was the first other ninja village who got to know this. They sent a new ambassador who demanded for their jailed ninja to be set free and for Konoha to pay reparations for the injuring of the peace contract. They demanded to get the head of the Hyuga clan to be sent to them to make up for the wrongdoings against Kumo. Minato had grinned evilly to the ambassador. "You think Kumo has any right to demand anything from Konoha?" he asked coldly. His blue eyes, hard as steel, didn't leave the man. The Kumo nin was about to learn why he could scare away whole armies with just one look. Kumo tried to kidnap a 3-year-old girl to get the secrets of the Byakugan Ikeki Genkai that belongs to Konoha. And you have the audacity to demand anything as reparation from me? Know your place. It was me who stopped your ninja, and you can be glad he didn't die. I let him be interrogated by my top specialists at this department, and I got to know some very interesting things. Tell your Raikage that the yellow flash has returned and that I won't budge an inch from my position. If necessary, I will meet your army personally, and if you doubt the outcome of such a battle, ask Tsuchikage, he can tell you. I was able to stop the most powerful of the Bijus, the Kyubi no Kitsune. Don't think I fear your forces. I'm a nasty enemy, and I intend to show everybody that I'm not to be taken lightly. Konoha won't pay any reparation, but if Kumo dares to try anything against us, be sure I won't hesitate to declare war upon your nation. The Kumo ambassador was frightened. He could practically feel the power of the Hokage. The Raikage had miscalculated. The Hokage wouldn't be overthrown by anybody. It would be unwise to anger him. Furthermore, you will send the little girl that has been made the Jinchuriki of the Nibi no Nikomata as a hostage to Konoha. I won't tolerate any aggression against Konoha. From nobody. Tell your Raikage my conditions. If he agrees, your ninja will be sent back to you. Remember, don't mess with Konoha. We didn't win the last wars by being weak. We are the strongest of the great shinobi nations for a good reason. Now go. Don't waste my time anymore. The Kumo ninja left the Hokage's office. That was an impressive display of your powers, Hokage-sama, Danzo said, impressed. Thank you, Danzo. It was time to remember the other countries that we are not to be underestimated. To ask for Hayashi to be sent to Kumo. Preposterous. As if we would let Kumo get the secrets of one of our strongest clans. They wronged us, and I will show them exactly what that means. Of course, Hokage-sama. I wanted to ask when Naruto would come over to my orphanage again to play with the other kids. Sai asked me if he could play again with him soon. It seems he has befriended him. Well, he could come over the day after tomorrow. Mom wanted to go shopping with him today, and tomorrow I wanted to take him with me when I visit Hayashi at the Hyuga compound. Naruto has befriended Niji and Hinata, and he wants to play with them again. I will tell Sai. He will be happy. Minato nodded. He was glad Naruto was able to find new friends. And the orphans at Danzo's orphanage were really nice to him. What do you intend to do with the rest of the Uchiha clan? First, the walls around the clan compound are destroyed as we speak. They won't live this isolated anymore. Second, the belongings of the clan have been transferred to Konoha. The Uchiha clan has to pay rent for their houses. Third, the military police has been taken from their control and is put under my command. Fourth, all privileges of the clan have been cancelled. Every member of the Uchiha clan that was involved into the conspiracy but hasn't been executed is either under arrest, or if it was just a minor case of knowing about it but not taking part in it, are under supervision of the ANBU. I don't intend to punish those who haven't been part of this, like the children or some civilians. If there is no doubt that they are innocent in this matter, their property will be given back to them. I won't punish a whole clan for the mistakes of some of them. But until we know everything, the property will be frozen. A good course of action, Hokage-sama. This way nobody will be able to accuse you of injustice. An open display of each crime will help the citizens to get used to the new regime. Yes, and it is time that the hero worship of Kekkai Genkai is put to an end. They are very useful tools for the ninjas that have them, but we can't allow ourselves to ignore everybody else who doesn't have a Kekkai Genkai. I don't have the ability to use Mokotan like my great-grandfather, but I am able to defeat those who can use Sharingan without problems. What about Naruto? Did he inherit the Kekkei Genkai of the Senju clan? I don't know if he can use it. But he is only 3. I know that he inherited the Uzumaki ability to heal at inhuman speed. 1 night of sleep and most injuries are healed completely without a scar. That's amazing, Danzo said, impressed. Yes, it is. I was always jealous for Kushina healing much faster than me. Minor wounds healed in minutes or hours. One reason why she was that difficult to beat in a fight. Most people would have thought that this would be the power of the Kyuubi who doesn't want his vessel to die because then he would die too. That may be possible for severe wounds, but why should the fox bother with little wounds like cuts that are nasty but not life-threatening? No, as long as there is a chance to survive, the wounds Naruto receives will heal. Kushina was even able to regrow a lost ear after one extremely fierce battle in the war. Danzo was stunned. He had never heard of such a bloodline. To have the bearer of it in Konoha would be invaluable for the future. But he knew better than to suggest that Naruto should spread this ability to as many children as possible. Minato was strictly against turning humans into breeding stocks. There was the possibility for those males who were the last of their clans to take more than one woman to rebuild their clan, but it was optional. If Naruto wanted this, it would be his decision in the future, but if he turned out to be like his father, he would stay with one woman he loved more than anything. Well, I think you will have to teach your son one more thing before he starts with the academy besides a few basics, Danzo pondered. And what would that be? Minato asked incredulously. How to escape fangirls. Now, as everybody knows his heritage, a lot of girls will be after him. Minato slapped his forehead with his palm. Damn, you are right. As heir to 2 clans, he would be extremely popular. Well, I can only hope that the ban of fangirls who are not fit to be kunoichis will help a bit. If not, well, it will be good speed training. Perhaps he will be able to learn Hiraishin no Jutsu earlier than me. First day at the academy. Daddy, hurry. I don't want to be late for my first day at the academy, Naruto wailed. Just a little patience, Naruto. I thought Danzo had taught you this, Minato responded. Yes, Danzo-sensei always says that a ninja has to be patient, but I'm so curious how it will be and if I can make new friends there. I can't wait to learn how to be a good ninja. I want to become the best. One day I will be Hokage just like you, Daddy, and protect Konoha and my precious people. Minato smiled. His son hadn't lost any of his enthusiasm in the last 3 years. For 1 year now he had trained with the other children at Danzo's orphanage in the mornings, as he had begged him to allow him to train with his best friend Sai. Minato had sent Shizen to overlook the training the first few weeks as he wanted to be sure that Danzo didn't overdo it in the training, but Shizen's observations was that he was a strict trainer but had taken the warning of Minato not to turn the children into emotionless soldiers to heart. He asked a lot from the children but not more than they were able to give. Naruto had had difficulties during the first training lesson, but then he got used to Danzo's training regime and enjoyed getting stronger with each session. His trainers were impressed by his determination and endurance. He motivated the other children to give their best, and they improved greatly. They would be able to shine at the academy easily. 4 of the children of the orphanage would start academy together with Naruto. Also his friends Hinata Hyuga, Ino Yamanaka, Shikamaru Nara, and Choji Akimichi would be in his year. Some children he met didn't like him. First was Sakura Haruno. Her mother had been on the civilian council and was in prison due to her treasonous actions, but Sakura blamed Naruto for this. Next was Sasuke Uchiha. He was wary around the blonde boy. His clan had been shunned by a majority of Konoha as it got known that they had planned a coup d'état. A thorough investigation had been started and nothing had been left in the dark. Sasuke was lucky that his older brother Itachi had fully cooperated with the ANBU and had protected him, saying that Sasuke had just been 3 years old and did know nothing about the conspiracy. Even if their father had been the leader of the conspiracy, Itachi managed to make a good impression with the Hokage. Itachi had just been promoted to Chunin after the previous exams and wanted to show everybody that he earned the right to be called a proud shinobi of Konoha. Even if he was only 10 years old, even if Minato didn't want for children to be soldiers too early, it would have been ridiculous to send graduated genin back to the academy just because of their age. The new rules would be installed for those who were still attending the academy or started it after the event. Sasuke's mother had taken her own life when it became clear that the Uchiha clan had fallen in shame, so Sasuke only had his older brother left of his family. One of the civilian Uchihas had taken the 2 boys in after she and her family had been cleared of all potential charges. Tragically, she died of an illness 2 years later, so Itachi had taken over to raise his little brother. He was happy with Itachi even if he had to work hard to earn enough money for them to live, but as Itachi got promoted into ANBU at the age of 13, just a month before he started at the academy, things became easier. Yujito Ni, the girl from Kyumo that had been sent to secure the obedience of her village with her status as a Jinchuriki, had taken the role of an annoying older cousin to Naruto. She lived with Anko Mitarashi as Minato didn't want the girl to be spoiled nor hated, and with Anko looking after her she would become a strong kunoichi. Anko was very grateful towards Minato as he had been able to remove the curse seal Orochimaru had given her years prior. It had taken him 4 months of studying the mechanisms of the seal, but together with his mother and cousin the seal had been deciphered and then removed. Also, Minato had given Anko the long overdue promotion to special jonin. The council had always denied her due to not being trustworthy even if the Sandaime wanted to promote her, so Yujito often teased Naruto with her new abilities. As she was 3 years his senior, she had 3 years more of training. She also had the advantage that her Biju, the Nibi no Nikomata, was much more likable than the Kyubi no Kitsune, and helped her to learn how to control the Biju's chakra. It led to Naruto training even harder to not be outdone by his cousin. Kiba Inuzuka thought of Naruto as a rival he wanted to show up. He didn't like that Hinata liked Naruto so much, and not him. So he tried everything to get Hinata's attention and let Naruto look like an idiot. But to Kiba's displeasure, it was not that easy to make Naruto look bad. He was extremely talented and learned new things with ease. Most of the time his plans backfired and he himself looked like an idiot. Naruto's only problem was to pay attention when he thought something was boring. 2 boys 2 years older than him had tried to beat up Naruto 4 weeks before the academy started. Their fathers had been sent to prison with Sakura's mother, and they wanted revenge for their families. Sadly, they were no match for Naruto, and he tricked them with ease and let them lay on the ground with a few bruises to go home when they woke up. Other nations now knew of the son of the Hokage, but even IWA didn't dare to try a kidnapping inside the walls of Konoha. Minato had taken the 2 top specialists in sealing in the ANBU and tested every seal at the protective walls around the village. They mapped the seals and set up a completely new seal array that worked 3 times more efficient. One spy quickly found out that the new array worked perfectly when he was caught trying to infiltrate the village. Ibiki had a lot of fun that week, and Minato sent the rest of the spy back to IWA with the note he didn't want to keep what wasn't his. Minato left the mansion with Naruto at 7:30. They had enough time to reach the academy, as the walk would only take 10 minutes. But his son was just impatient. This was an important day for him, and he wanted to get to the academy as soon as possible. On their way, they were greeted by a lot of villagers. After Minato's outburst during his reinstatement speech, many finally understood the difference between Naruto and the Kyubi, and were ashamed that they had just believed the gossipers. Most of the rumors were initially spread by the old civilian council, and they stopped with them being arrested. A lot of people took a liking to Naruto after they observed him for a while. Especially the young girls. Naruto was uncomfortable with all the fangirls and asked his father what he could do about it. Minato told him he had to be firm when he told them that he wasn't interested in a relationship but polite. Needless to say that this didn't solve Naruto's problems, as many girls just told each other that he was just too shy to admit his feelings. It possibly only got him more fangirls. As Minato had predicted, Naruto got really good at running away and his speed increased. Soon they arrived at the Ninja Academy. A lot had changed in the last 3 years. The grounds had been rebuilt to fit the new needs of training schedules the students had. After Danzo's root unit had been dissolved, Minato had taken his time to talk with Danzo where each ninja could serve best. The best of Root's ninjas had been transferred to the normal ANBU. Some became Jonin and Chunin, and the veterans and 10 specially chosen members became teachers at the academy. Konoha started a new program to prepare younger ninjas that wanted to teach at the academy themselves. They had to be at least Chunin for 2 years to be even considered ready for teaching future generations of ninjas, as Minato emphasized the value of experience for teachers. Now the old teachers either were put into the normal ninja duty, or were risked to be fit for their jobs. Some had been favoring children from the important clans over civilian children for years. When Minato was told this, he called all the academy teachers in and asked coldly if they knew what they had done with their acting. They had willingly weakened Konoha, as a lot of talented children hadn't been given the chance to reach their full potential and become an asset to Konoha. He had fired the biased teachers. Thankfully, he found enough volunteers within the root and normal veterans to get the academy running again. A lot of villagers saw the changes as they were visited by 10 to 12-year-olds regularly to take the missions they had put in with the Hokage that until then the rookie genins had taken. For Minato, it was a nice increase in the village funds as the academy students' payment went to the village. They profited from it as Minato used the earned money to get new equipment for the academy. Naruto looked in awe when he saw the academy building. He promised himself he would learn everything the teachers could show him and be one of the best students, if not the best. He would wait until he could tell where he stood. As his father and Danzo-sensei always remembered him, there always was someone stronger, and nobody could rest on what he had achieved so far. To become really strong, the only way was to work hard constantly. He looked around if he could find one of his friends, but the only one he knew was Sasuke Uchiha, and he didn't want to argue with the boy just now. But it was funny to see that he wasn't the only one who had problems with fangirls. Sasuke got a lot of admiring looks himself, and as Naruto could see, he was quite uncomfortable with it. The teachers that waited outside for the first years greeted Minato politely, and he returned the greetings. A few minutes later, the group of orphans with Sai between them arrived, accompanied by one of the caretakers. Sai came over to greet Naruto, and the two boys started a conversation how they would show everybody that they would be great ninjas. Minato smiled at them. Hinata and her father arrived 5 minutes later, and a lot of parents showed respect for the Hyuga clan head. Hinata was uncomfortable with all the looks. Naruto had managed to get her out of her shell somewhat, but she still was very shy and only opened up after some time when she got to know the other people. Well, it had gotten better after she played with Ino. The bold girl tried to get Hinata to believe in herself more. With two outspoken friends like Naruto and Ino, Hinata grew to be less afraid to fail, but it would be a long way to go for her until she lost her insecure attitude. When Ino found out that Hinata liked Naruto a lot, she began to tease her a bit. That got Hinata to develop a whole new scale of face colors. Naruto often asked if she didn't feel well when she blushed hard, but she always shook her head, but Naruto couldn't help but be concerned. Hinata was his first ever friend and he felt responsible for her well-being. He had also promised Niji to look after her, as he wasn't able to do it at the academy. Sometimes Naruto thought of Niji as Hinata's overprotective older brother. The boy could get scary if he had the opinion that anybody was a threat to his cousin. Thanks to Minato, Niji hadn't been branded with the caged bird seal. Minato had banned any seal that could be seen as a threat to Konoha's ninjas and therefore military strength. A member of the branch family that was in danger to experience pain that could damage his brain due to the seal fell in this category. As he demonstrated with a caged bird seal that was drawn onto a special piece of paper, he was able to activate it. And he had just observed the main family members that used the hand sign on branch members. After this display of misuse potential, he had ordered to free every member that had been branded with the seal. Until the Hyuga clan found a possibility to protect their Kekkei Genkai without endangering the bearer of a seal, it was prohibited to use it. The elders of the Hyuga clan had been outraged, but Minato was well within his rights as Hokage to do everything to ensure his soldiers' safety from enemies. Hayashi had silently celebrated, as he had always wanted to unite the two families in the Hyuga clan. Without the seal, there were no differences anymore. Tsunade had started her medical training program, and the first absolvents were now working at the hospital, or in the field. She had started with genins that were already working in the field to help their teams in the long run. For the first time, Minato had to rearrange the genin teams so that the missions still could be done. The new medics in training needed at least a year to get the basics down until Tsunade allowed them to be sent as support for missions. The success of her program was stunning. They had 20% less losses on missions because every team had a medic with them. The medical trainees that finished their first year of studies still got additional training 3 times a week to further develop their abilities. Some also chose to do full-time training, especially some kunoichis that saw Tsunade and Shizen as their role models. There weren't that many strong kunoichis they could admire. Most of the well-known ninjas were shinobi. The medical lessons the students at the academy got were also very promising. As children learn much easier than adults, their achievements surpassed Minato's expectations by far. The last graduation class had been fantastic. 39 children graduated, and under them were 10 that had medical training. The Jonin senseis had been impressed by the quality the new genin showed, and from the 13 teams that were billed, 6 passed their tests. That was nearly half of the graduates. Before, they had a year where only 2 teams of 11 were fit to serve Konoha. Tsunade now had plans to start a special program for those who didn't want to be ninjas, as they didn't think they would be able to fight well enough but wanted to serve Konoha as medics. After she presented the advantages of such a program to Minato and the council, and also demonstrated how this program could be financed, they agreed that it would benefit Konoha if they had specially trained medics that would work only at the village. With assisting the field medics trained at the academy to be both ninja and medic, the survival rate of the ninjas would increase again. The teachers called for the first years to line up in alphabetical order. It would be 3 new classes, which started this year. 66 children had been enrolled for the Ninja Academy, so each class would start with 22 children. Naruto listened intently when his name would be called. The first class had already been called, and he hadn't been one of the children that had been called. 2 of his friends from Danzo's orphanage were called, and he had wished them good luck. The list for the second class reached N, and a cousin of Shikamaru was called for this class. Naruto now knew he would be in the 3rd class, as Namikaze came before Nara. It wasn't important who was in which class, as his dad had explained him. After 2 years, the remaining students would be mixed according to their performances at a test that would be taken at the beginning of the 3rd year. Then some girls began to squeal. The last name for the second class had been Sasuke Uchiha. Well, perhaps it was good if Naruto and Sasuke wouldn't be in one class at the beginning. The teachers started to call the students for the 3rd class. First was Choji Akimichi, then after some time Hinata was called, then Naruto, Shikamaru, and last of his friends Sai. To Naruto's relief, Kiba had been called with the 1st class, so he wouldn't be bothered by the boy during the first 2 years in class. Naruto knew the children of the powerful clans had been spread over the 3 classes to grant somewhat equal strength in the classes. In the first class were Kiba of the Inuzuka clan, Shino of the Aburame clan, Hitomi of the Uchiha clan, and Ino of the Yamanaka clan. In the second class were Sasuke of the Uchiha clan, Reina of the Nara clan, Manami of the Akimichi clan, and Yakumo of the Kurama clan. In the third class were Hinata of the Hyuga clan, Shikamaru of the Nara clan, Choji of the Akimichi clan, and Naruto of the Senju and Namikaze clan. Most of the other children were from civilian families like Sakura Haruno, from Danzo's orphanage, from the public orphanage, or minor shinobi families that didn't fulfill the necessities to become an official clan. Minato as Hokage greeted the new students at the academy, and remembered them that they were about to start their education to become ninjas of Konoha. He emphasized that it would be a hard path they had chosen, but it was an honorable path. He would be looking forward to someday meet them when they would graduate and get their first missions from him. He wished everybody good luck and the willpower to see this way to the end. The new students and their parents applauded him, and then the children were led to their respectable classrooms. Minato looked proud as he saw his son vanish in the building. He would do his best to realize his goals. Of this he was sure. He turned around and made his way to the Hokage Tower where his daily work awaited him. Naruto sat down in the third row of tables at the window side of the room. He sat in the middle of the table with Hinata to his right and Sai to his left. Shikamaru and Choji sat 2 rows behind them with a boy from a ninja family that specialized in kenjutsu as Naruto had been told. In the class were 8 girls and 14 boys. 4 of the girls openly fawned over Naruto, 2 girls were angry because they wanted to be in the same class as Sasuke. 1 girl didn't understand the hype the other girls made because of some boys. She stated she wanted to become a strong kunoichi and not a trophy wife of some clan heir. This girl rose in Naruto's list of people he respected a lot. The last girl was Hinata. She liked Naruto a lot, but she also was his friend for years now, and knew he despised this fangirl behavior. The only way to get his respect was to work for her own goals as hard as possible. And she intended to do just that. Her clan would punish her if she wasn't one of the top students. As Naruto was in her class, there would be some room for some better results than hers, but she was expected to at least become the top kunoichi. In her class she would possibly only have a rival in Mai Nakasawa as she was a tomboy and took her training as a kunoichi serious. Perhaps Mai would like to be friends with her. It would be nice to have a female friend in her class. In the whole year she knew were some other female students that had potential. There was Ino, Reina Nara and Mayami Akimichi. They would take their training somewhat serious. When she had asked Naruto the day before if he was nervous if he could make his father proud, he had given her an interesting answer. You want to know if I am nervous because it will be difficult to meet the expectations that everybody has for me? Well, I don't think I am nervous, it's more like I am excited. I don't know if I am able to be the best, but it doesn't matter right now. We have 6 years to learn everything the academy can teach us, that's plenty of time, and the real challenge will start after the 2nd year. Daddy told me that we will be tested at the beginning of the 3rd year for our abilities. Then the classes will be mixed new consisting of the results of the test. My first goal is to be in the first third of the year after this test. I don't care if I am the top student or rank 5th. I know that there will be strong students, but I want to measure my own abilities against them. I can only get stronger if I have strong classmates that motivate me to work even harder. Hinata had felt better after this. Naruto was right. They had time to learn. She only had to stay in the top third of the year, then she could stay with Naruto. And by watching him, she had a fantastic role model how she could get stronger. Never give up and try until you get something right. Niji had told her that they had a strange student in his year that couldn't use ninjutsu or genjutsu. He was willed to become a ninja just by using taijutsu and weapons. The Hokage had allowed him to enter the academy, and also suggested for Lee Rock to try to learn about seals as he could use some chakra and therefore activate seals. You didn't need to mold it like it was necessary for jutsus. Thus far Lee seemed to rectify the trust that was put into him. He worked very hard and got a lot better in his taijutsu. Even though he needed a lot more training to become proficient, but he was second best in taijutsu after Niji in his class. Now their teacher began to talk to them. Welcome to the Ninja Academy. My name is Renzo Giacomoto, and you will call me Renzo-sensei. For the next 2 years I will be your teacher. You will learn the basics that are needed to become a good shinobi. To get something clear right from the start. I won't play favorites on anyone, not a clan heir or the Hokage's son. In this class you are equal to each other, and everybody will only be ranked by his or her achievements. This year we will start with physical education. To be a ninja you have to be in physical top form. Most of the time when you fight on missions you will use taijutsu or weapons, especially when stealth is needed. Ninjutsu emits chakra and therefore can give away your position to your enemy. Therefore a ninja that is unable to hold himself in hand-to-hand combat is a lousy ninja. We will work on your dodging abilities, your throwing abilities and combinations of both. In the theoretical part we will cover weapon making and what can be used as a weapon if you have used all your own weapons. A ninja has to be inventive if he wants to survive. We will also cover strategy. You will be presented with situations and have to think of ways how to fulfill a given job best. Some of the children took notes of this, Naruto was one of them. His grandmother had always told him that information was invaluable in the ninja world and could make the difference between success and death. Next thing is we will cover important history and the history of the other elemental countries. It is important to know about our own history, but it will help you if you have missions to other countries when you know something about their history too. Next part of your schedule is hiding techniques. A good ninja is never seen if he doesn't want to be seen. Hokage-sama had an idea to help you to work on your hiding and escaping skills and get the citizens of Konoha to be more aware of their surroundings. You will get small tasks you have to do while not being seen. You will get marks on how well you did. What exactly these tasks will be told to you when you have mastered the basics of hiding and evasion. Naruto was curious. It sounded like his father would let them prank Konoha. In the next year you will learn how to mold chakra. We will do basic exercises to mold it, and how you can control it. We won't start learning jutsus until the beginning of the second half of the 3rd year. We want to be sure that you have proper control before we begin to teach you jutsus. At the end of your time at the academy, you have to be able to show the proctors that you are able to do a Kawarimi no Jutsu, a Henji no Jutsu, and a Bunshin no Jutsu. It is not important which sort of Bunshin you produce. It can be the basic sort or a more advanced version. You have to demonstrate that you are able to use one elemental jutsu. It will be a D-level jutsu, and you will learn about it at the 5th year. You will be tested in your taijutsu and your abilities in throwing kunai and shuriken. The targets will be stationary or moving. You also will be demonstrating both abilities, to hit your target while standing in one spot or moving around. You will show that you can detect and break a low-level genjutsu. Some of the students looked intimidated. That were a lot of things they had to be able to do at the end. Well, we have some exceptions of these rules at the academy. There are students that simply are unable to perform in some areas. They will take other exams to make up for their deficits in these areas. We have special classes for learning the use of different weapons and a class for those who want to learn about sealing. Those two, for example, can replace the ninjutsu or genjutsu part if someone is unable to mold chakra correctly. You can fail in one category out of 5 during your exam, but your marks in the other 4 parts have to make up for it. This is because we have ninjas in our forces that just don't need to use ninjutsu or genjutsu to be successful. One prime example is Guy Mato. He is able to use jutsus, but he just doesn't want to. He is one of the best taijutsu fighters in all elemental countries, even if he is really young. Then we have a young chunin, Kurinai Yuhi. She specializes in genjutsu, and nearly never uses ninjutsu because she tricks her opponents. Hate Gecko is an expert in kenjutsu. He is well on his way to the top with mostly not using ninjutsu or genjutsu. You see, it doesn't matter that you have flashy jutsus, what matters is that you are able to fulfill the missions you get. How you do this is up to yourself and depends on the kind of mission you get. Nobody can be able to do everything. That is the reason why we work in teams. When you graduate from the academy, you will be put in cells of 3 genin under the command of one experienced jonin sensei. The cells will be chosen by Hokage-sama, and he will make sure that they are well balanced for the abilities of the cell members and their teamwork. The 5th and 6th years students will take little missions for villagers to learn about teamwork. Based on those, the teachers will make recommendations to Hokage-sama which persons would make a good team. One thing you have to remember all the time: a team enables you to get your job done. Therefore, you have to look out for each other. Nobody but the very best can sometimes do a job single-handedly. But a team nearly always has success. The students nodded. Those from ninja families or clans had been told of the old teams their parents were in, and some were still really good friends. Shikamaru's and Choji's fathers along with Ino's father were well known as the Ino Shikacho team. They were famous as one of the best teams ever. Or if one thought of the legendary Sannin, even if Orochimaru had defected Konoha some years ago. When they were a team, they were nearly unbeatable. Konoha valued teamwork as the most important skill a ninja had to have. First practical lesson. It had been 1 week since Naruto was at the academy. Some lessons he found boring, but most of the time they learned new things that were very interesting. They had started with the history of the founding of Konoha. Naruto liked the stories very much, especially as his great-great-grandfather was the Shodaime Hokage. They were taught about the great battles that were fought in this time and how the Uchiha and the Senju clan agreed on an alliance and founded Konoha. How Madara Uchiha in the end left Konoha and tried to kill Hashirama Senju with the help of the Kyuubi no Kitsune. Well, today Kyuubi isn't a threat anymore as he is sealed in Naruto and can't escape, Renzo-sensei told them. A lot of the students looked curiously at Naruto. He just smiled. He was glad that the times when he was shunned and attacked because he was the Kyuubi Jinchuriki were over. Next subject was herbology. They were taught about different plants and their uses for shinobi. Some were edible and helped if food was low on missions. Others were poisonous and should be avoided. Or they could be used against enemies. This subject was something Hinata was good at. She liked plants and knew a lot about this topic. She surprised her teacher, as she could tell some properties of healing plants. Naruto knew she wanted to take some of the medical classes his grandmother gave when they would be able to choose some subjects. They learned about different kinds of weapons and their use. Mai listened intently. Most girls just looked dreamingly at Naruto and fantasized how good he would look using some of the weapons. Renzo noted their names. They would be given the first 2 years to stop their foolish behavior. If they would still be fangirls after the end of these 2 years, they would be transferred to the civilian schools. The Hokage didn't tolerate girls who didn't take their ninja career serious. If they admired one of their male classmates and intensified their training to impress him, it would be okay, but they wouldn't let them become cannon fodder because they couldn't defend themselves. Konoha established a reputation within the elemental countries, and it wouldn't be ruined by some stupid girls. This afternoon the girls and the boys were separated. The girls of all 3 classes had special training for kunoichis together, and the boys would do sparring matches against each other. They would compete with the students of the other classes. The matches were drawn coincidentally. Hinata was kind of nervous what the kunoichi classes would involve. She really hoped it wasn't something too embarrassing. She was happy when she saw that their teacher was Kurinai Yuhi, the chunin that escorted her from the Hyuga estate to the academy. Her father wanted to make sure that she was safe. The Byakugan was too valuable to risk. Minato may have increased the village safety, but Hayashi thought better safe than sorry. So he hired Kurenai to be Hinata's escort. Well girls, welcome to our first class just for future kunoichis, she said. My name is Kurenai Yuhi, and you will call me Kurenai-sensei. I'm a chunin for 3 years now and this is the first time I have the possibility to teach. It's a great honor for me to be allowed to help you on your way to become strong kunoichis. First things first, what do you think a good kunoichi is like? She asked. Sakura raised her hand. Yes, Sakura, it was right? Yes, Kurenai-sensei. I think a good kunoichi is very beautiful so that she can charm every man, another girl added. Yes, like Sasuke-kun. He is so handsome and so strong. A lot of girls got dreamy looks in their eyes. Mai just snorted. Girls like that gave kunoichis a bad name. You are idiots. Why would I want to impress men with my looks? I want to be their equal. A good kunoichi knows how to use her abilities to trick her opponents. As girls we have the disadvantage of range against a male opponent, so we have to find other ways to reach our goals. My role model is Kushina Uzumaki. She was one of the most powerful kunoichis of all times. My dad was her teammate, and told me stories about her. She was so powerful that she got the nickname the Red Water Devil. She was an ANBU captain and famous for her powerful water jutsus. In her Chunin exam she was the only one who gave Minato Namikaze, our current Hokage, a run for his money. He won in the end, but he was very impressed by her skills. But how would such a kunoichi gather information? Ino asked. Most kunoichis are spies, and by being completely unsuspicious they can hear things others don't hear. A good kunoichi is not recognized as one before it is too late for her opponent. A good kunoichi strikes from the shadows. That makes up for the disadvantage of range. That's what my dad told me. Ino and Mai have very good points there. It is true that a lot of kunoichis do this kind of missions, and sometimes it is required to seduce their opponents to get valuable information. But none of these kunoichis would be overpowered by any male, because a kunoichi that is worth her name is intelligent. She uses what she can to reach her goals. We don't need to fear for our looks. If it is needed, we can change our looks with a simple henji no jutsu. Only if we infiltrate other ninja communities this is impossible, as they could detect our chakra. But there are ways to improve looks. Some good placed makeup and a nice hairstyle can hide some things. But if you are not able to defend yourselves, you will have great problems. Enemies are merciless. Bandits are greedy. If they catch a woman, most of the time they will rape her. It is the worst thing a woman can experience. This class will prepare you if you ever get into such a terrible situation.